One day we find a full-scale war between the demons and all the races of the world, and we see so many corpses on the ground and blood everywhere, and the winner of the war because of mastering all combat skills with magic, is the Demon King. So he sits on one of the corpses and looks at the battlefield with mockery and asks himself, are these the coalition army? They were very weak. Suddenly a light appears from the sky and a whole army of half-humans whose half are birds comes out of it. So the Demon King laughs sarcastically and says to himself, I did not imagine that those also would intervene in the war. So the leader of the half-humans named Seraphim stands in front of him and says to him, we cannot let you rule the earth. Seraphim orders his soldiers to attack the Demon King, so he closes them and releases his terrifying energy on them and burns most of them. So Seraphim launches a huge energy ball at him and the rest of the soldiers attack him at the same time. And this war continued for more than 3 days and ended with the victory of the Demon King after he killed Seraphim. But the Demon King admits that he got tired of the war and the continuous fighting, and suddenly he feels someone approaching him and he recognizes her energy, and he finds that she is the leader of the demon army named Ishtar. So she laughs and says to him, a long time has passed, and she steps on Seraphim's corpse with all spite. So the Demon King asks her, why do you rebel? She replies and says, the whole thing is that no one can defeat you and I failed more than once. But now I can rule the earth with my power. So the Demon King is surprised and feels that he does not understand anything, and he begins to laugh loudly and says to her sarcastically, this is a very silly answer. So she tells him, you are always like this, and asks him, so what are you doing now? You know it is true that if you die the matter will end. You still have the reincarnation technique that makes you not die, I know, but you no longer are able to use it. So the Demon King replies sarcastically, don't worry, I am very fine. So Ishtar is surprised and says to him, then in this case see what you are going into. Suddenly he finds an army of the rebellious demons coming at him, and Ishtar orders them to finish him before he heals himself. So they all rush on him at the same time, and this time the many defeated the brave, and they are able to cut his arm. So the Demon King tries to resist them, but they finish him completely, and Ishtar ends the battle with a rain of swords falling on him while she laughs an evil laugh. Before the Demon King dies, he says in himself, why did you think that I would not be able to do the reincarnation technique, O Ishtar? And he opens his eyes again while smiling. In another time, and specifically in Tokyo, where something appeared called the dungeons, and inside them were monsters different in strength. So this era was called the era of the hunters, because students began to study and train on what makes them able to hunt monsters, and the category of people is determined according to their genes, and from the age of 12 they are tested for the category determination. And it is called the awakening efficiency test, and the efficiencies are different in strength and the person's growth speed and many other things. One day a huge giant of category A appears in the city, so the human soldiers shoot at him and are surprised that he is not affected by anything. So they try launching huge missiles and it explodes in him, but the result is the same and the giant is not injured by any scratch, and the giant gets very angry and tries to stomp on people, so they run away from him quickly, but a little girl trips in front of him. So the giant raises his huge axe and smiles with all evil before he brings it down on her. Suddenly a light appears from afar and a hunter from a high category arrives and blocks the axe, and holds the girl and quickly splits the giant in half with his sword. He lands with the girl on the ground and she thanks him while crying, and all the people around him are amazed at his power. And we know that this giant came out of one of the dungeons that appeared in this world, and that ordinary weapons do not affect them, and the person who can fight these monsters is called the Awakened. So all countries adopted a system of rewards for hunting monsters. So the Awakened made guilds for hunting the monsters that come out of the dungeons, and their goal is money and power and strength. At the same time, in the orphanage of the hunters who take care of the survivors, there is a boy named Hiroto watching the hunter while he finishes the giant. Suddenly some bullies in the house enter on him, and they beat him with all cruelty to make him pay them money, and because this boy is awakened from category F, which is the weakest category, he cannot defend himself and he cries. He remembers when he was young in the orphanage, and some bullies were bothering a girl named Yuzuki, so he stood in front of them to defend her. But after a while and after the awakening efficiency test, the scene is reversed and this time the bullies are bothering him and she is the one who defends him because her category is higher. He cries on the ground and feels very pathetic. After the bullies go, she tells him, I am moving to the hunter training school and I will not be able to protect you again, and she screams at him and tells him the weak have other ways in fighting. Be wise and smart a little. And she leaves him and goes after her, word stabbed in his heart like a knife, and though he knows that this is her way of expressing her kindness, it affected him very much. We return to the present and Hiroto goes to the demise training, and this is a dungeon with monsters where beginner hunters train, and he is with a healer and a mage and a thief and a swordsman and an axe user, but the swordsman and the axe user treat the rest very badly because their rank is higher, and they tell them the reward will be divided and we will take the larger share. Suddenly the thief named Akira objects, and tells them the reward should be divided according to effort. The swordsman comes close to him and punches him with all his strength in the stomach, and tells him, we are hunters of rank B and C, how dare you talk to us like this? So Hiroto moves unintentionally but suddenly stops in his place and remembers when Yuzuki told him the weak have their way in fighting, so he says in himself, I am pathetic, and the swordsman stops the axe user from hitting Akira, and tells him the thief's job is to remove the traps. If you make him helpless, who will remove the traps for us to get the treasure? Let's beat him after we leave this place. Suddenly a group of little goblins appear and attack them, so the swordsman and the axe user block their attack, and the axe user shouts at the mage because he is very slow, so the mage moves and strengthens him and the swordsman, so they are able to finish all the goblins quickly. So Hiroto tells Akira, the idea that we are not fighters makes me feel we are useless, but I am amazed that you could talk in front of those two, and sorry that I could not help you. So Akira replies, in cases like this you have no choices, and I object because I see them not deserving the whole reward and we take less than them. And he tells him sadly, and also because I need the money very much to make a non-profit hunter guild, and this is because the current hunter guild does not care for the poor, and there is something called acquired potions we find in the demise, and these can cure any disease no matter what. And I heard the cost of one potion is very huge and it does not go to the people who really need it, who are the poor. And my sister has a disease that all doctors fail to cure, and of course we cannot buy a healing potion. So Hiroto tells him, you are a great and kind person. After they finish all the goblins, the swordsman gets angry at the mage and treats him very badly, and threatens him that he will reduce his reward. Then the swordsman arrogantly orders Akira to open the treasure chest in front of them, and this is because Akira's job is to remove any traps in front of them and open the treasure chests. So Akira goes to the chest and takes out his tools and starts to unlock it without the trap activating. While he is working, the swordsman and the axe user mock him and insult him, and the mage tells the healer there should not be any dangerous traps here because we are in a beginner's demise. So Hiroto says in himself, her words are right. No one died here before, and that is why they let us come train in it. Suddenly they hear a scream, so they look at Akira and find many swords pierced his body and he fell on the ground dead, so they all are shocked and terrified. Suddenly the ground breaks under them and they fall into a place under the ground. So Hiroto quickly gets up to check on everyone and finds Akira's corpse, and this was the first corpse he saw in his life. Here they all realize the shocking truth that the demise they thought was for beginners, you can die in it normally, and Hiroto is terrified of the idea of what they will do with him while he is the weakest among them, and he feels that his turn is coming and he will die after Akira. The swordsman and the axe user shout at them to calm down, and the swordsman says angrily that was just a little insect and a stupid thief. It does not matter that he died at all, so they all keep silent, not replying to him. And the axe user tells them, we only lost a treasure chest we could not open, but our combat power did not decrease at all. Then they look up thinking how they will climb again, and they ask Hiroto, did you forget the rope or do you have it? So he tells them, I will take it out now. He looks at Akira's corpse sadly, then walks with them, and the mage cries and asks with fear, was not this demise supposed to be for beginners? There should not be deadly traps like this. So the healer replies, maybe this is the dungeon paradox. So they ask her, you mean the difficulty of the demise suddenly changes? She tells them yes. And I heard this is something that happens in any demise every few years. The swordsman laughs and says, very good. So we say what happened was just an accident. So Hiroto is shocked by his reaction, and the swordsman continues and says, generally I am glad that the one who died was that weak person. So Hiroto is more disgusted and remembers Akira's goal and his sick sister and is very upset. On their way the healer steps on something, and suddenly terrifying silver wolves appear in front of them. So the swordsman shouts and says, we will not be able to fight them, they are of a high rank for us. Then he asks them with fear, are not the silver wolves supposed to appear in the forbidden areas of the demise? What brought them here? So the healer tells them that the dungeon paradox is also called the chain paradox, meaning it will keep going and each time something stronger than the one before will appear. So the swordsman asks the axe user, what will we do? So he thinks and looks at Hiroto with a very scary look. So Hiroto remembers that they studied in the academy the silver wolves, and one of their features is that they chase the weakest in the group first. So the sword user continues, we will run from one direction and Hiroto will lure the wolves from another other direction, so Hiroto is terrified and asks him, "You are joking, right?" So the axe user puts his hand on the mage's shoulder and tells him, "If Hiroto tries to run after us, shoot him." So Hiroto looks at the mage and asks him with fear, "You will not do that, right?" So the mage is very nervous and tells him sorry. So Hiroto looks in despair at the healer and asks her they are acting strangely, right, and begs her to tell them not to do this. But she is terrified and tells him, "Sorry, but I agree with them." Hiroto tells them, "Wait. If we all cooperate, our chance will be bigger." So they apologize again and leave him running, and Hiroto stands shocked, thinking how much this world is never fair, and says in himself, "Even Yuzuki judged me as weak." Suddenly the wolves all attack him at the same time and tear him completely. So he says in himself, "I do not want to be weak, nor be the one who needs someone's help and protection. I want to be the one who protects others." Suddenly his mobile lights up. The wolves are scared of the light of the mobile and leave him and run after Hiroto became a cut corpse, and we find on the screen of the mobile written Demon Lord System and Hiroto's state analysis, and a very strong light shines from it, and a screen appears written on it his skills and his level, and his health percentage increases until it fills completely as if in a game, and a countdown begins on Hiroto's revival. Hiroto gets up once again, not believing that he survived the wolves, and is more surprised when he finds all his wounds no longer exist. So he holds the mobile and says in himself, "I do not remember downloading this system." And when he sees the blood on the screen, he feels a strange pain and does not understand why this happened. Then he realizes he is completely alone, and that he must escape from this demise he is in. On his way he is surprised by goblin corpses on the ground, so he concludes that his team that ran killed them. Suddenly a goblin still alive appears, and pounces on Hiroto and bites his shoulder. So Hiroto moves his head away and tries to resist it. So the goblin hits him hard and Hiroto tries to protect his face, and he says in himself, "The goblins are supposed to be just little insects, and I am weaker than it, meaning I am less than an insect also." Suddenly the goblin grabs his left eye and bursts it, but something strange happens in the Demon Lord system on the mobile, and a skill activates, and it is written its duration is 24 hours, and it gives the user unlimited skills as if he gets the abilities of the real Demon Lord. At that moment his eye that the goblin burst heals, so the goblin extends his hand again, but Hiroto is faster and puts his finger in the goblin's eye, and Hiroto stands with full confidence and holds a rock and smashes it on his head. So a screen from the Demon Lord system appears saying achievement accomplished, goblin killed. Then another skill activates, absorbing the goblin and increasing his statistics like his strength and intelligence and mana. Hiroto is shocked and does not understand anything from the screen in front of him. In the middle of his questions he feels something strange, that there is something waiting for him in a corner of the darkness. So he wonders how he knew this information. Then he immediately feels all his senses increasing. So he says, "I heard that thieves like Akira had a danger sense. Now I understood the matter." He gets up from above the dead goblin and throws the stone towards the thing he felt, which was an orc bigger than the goblin he killed, and the orcs are half humans and half animals. So Hiroto runs quickly at him and hits him in the eye with the stone. So the monster feels pain and falls on the ground, and Hiroto goes down on him and continues hitting. So he is happy his plan worked, but his strikes do not affect the goblin. So he realizes that the orc's level is higher than the goblin's, and he reviews his information that the goblins are level F, the lowest category. Then right after them the orcs are category E, and higher than them were the two wolves from category D. He finds no solution but to hit him in his weak point with all his strength, and indeed he is able to defeat him in this way. So the achievement and reward screen appears in front of him again, and this time his level rises from 2 to 3 and his statistics also increase. So Hiroto notices that his strength is the highest in the statistics, so he runs to break the rock in his hand, and indeed he is able to break it. So Hiroto is shocked and falls on the ground from the shock, and asks himself, "Is not this the strength of a trainee adventurer in the school? How could a weak person like me do this?" Bats appear in front of him and he tests his strength more to make sure that the screens appearing in front of him are real. So he throws small stones at them and finds that his aim is better and his attacks affect them, and he understands that when he defeats orcs or goblins the strength statistics increase because they use physical attacks, but when he defeats bats the agility and swiftness statistics increase, and when he defeats skeletons the mana increases, and when he defeats stone monsters like the golem his body build increases. He says in himself, "I heard before that playing alone raises your level faster." So he decides to go deeper into the demise to fight different and stronger kinds, but he discovers that he cannot enter deeper than this without permission, so he is upset because he wants to defeat the silver wolves. Suddenly a new screen appears in front of him, written on it, "New mission after 10 seconds. At that moment a pack of silver wolves appears before him, and they all run at him in anger and surround him, so he cannot escape. so Hiroto feels his mind in an automatic state of readiness, and quickly one of the wolves attacks him, so Hiroto's body moves and he punches it away from him. So Hiroto is glad and believes he has become stronger than them and can read their movements. So this time he initiates the attack and runs at one of the wolves and strikes it with his knee. All the wolves charge their energy and Hiroto feels the situation will be hard without weapons, and the wolves surround him again and attack him all at the same time, and what happened before happens again and they tear his body apart and he dies, and a screen appears saying that health became 0, but suddenly the life link skill activates and his health rises again to full, and the parts of his body that the wolves cut begin to grow, so they are shocked and Hiroto drops to the ground, so the wolves rush at him quickly. Then a new skill called pain tolerance activates and his body parts are formed again and he falls to the ground, so the wolves run at him. So he says to himself, the matter of a body that will not die is very annoying. I feel like I am in a game and being tormented in it. The wolves tear his body again and the level of the pain tolerance skill rises each time, but it reduces the pain to a certain level and he still feels it, and this time he drops down punching the wolves while thinking he will not defeat them without a weapon or anything sharp to kill them. So he remembers Akira's corpse and decides to go back and take a weapon from the blades embedded in his body. Indeed, he takes from them a sword and a dagger, and at that moment a wolf attacks him from his back. So Hiroto turns and cuts the wolf, so he gets more excited when he finds the method worked, and the expressions on his face turn to wickedness. And he remembers when he heard an anchor on television tell his co-anchor, "Do you know what can make a hunter gain real experience? To fight alone a monster of a high rank. And if he hunts 100 silver wolves it will be something great." Hiroto pounces on all the wolves in front of him and finishes them all, and he shouts loudly as a way of expressing victory. And his level rises very quickly and he earns the title of the Great Slayer, and he is surprised when he finds written before him Courage level 2. And he finds a definition of the title he took, and he understands it is obtained by the one who endures fighting an enemy with a great gap in level between them. And he also understands that the courage skill increases his energy by 5% for each level, and he is currently at level 5, meaning in total his energy will increase by 25%. But Hiroto feels he cannot trust the screen that appears before him, and suddenly a notification appears before him and he opens it, and he finds a mission lasting 24 hours which is to fight monsters at a far higher level, and he has the choice to refuse or accept the mission. So Hiroto thinks well and reviews the events that happened up to now, and he feels some confidence in the skills he gained. And although he does not die like in games, he still feels fear of pain and wounds, and he feels he does not want to try again. And suddenly he remembers Yuzuki, so he asks the screen how much time is left on the effect of the life link skill. He finds that 18 hours remain, so he hits himself and says, "You fool. You live as mere trash and without any talent or use. Do you want to stay like this?" And he screams and says of course not. Then he finds all his wounds have healed, so he charges himself with resolve, and he says there will be no future if I do not take risks. I want to try, and he accepts the mission and is transferred from his place. On the other side, the swordsman and the axe user are sitting with their friends and laughing, so the swordsman tells them, "I heard many accidents can happen in raids," so the axe user replies it was a shock. Even so, a death in a beginner demise was something never expected, and they all laugh loudly with full mockery. Then the axe user tells them, but away from jokes and kidding, "The matter is truly a very great disgrace." So one of his friends replies, "Even if you are a strong person, Kamurabayashi, the idea that someone you know dies before you is hard." So he replies, "Do not be stupid. Next week an inspector from the school will come to see the mock battles made at the school to evaluate us. And according to my expectations that freshman Hiroto will be in the same group as us." And they all laugh mockingly at Hiroto. Kamurabayashi's mobile is on the table and the Demon Lord system appears on it, and his level is 5, but all his statistics are very low. At the same time, Hiroto finds himself in another demise, but this time its level is far higher, and he thinks about the number of times he died, and he finds before him a silver wolf, so he cuts off its head quickly and his skills increase. Suddenly a giant insect appears before him, and it kills him, and he reassembles again with the life link skill, so he kills it quickly and his level increases and reaches 15. But strangely a screen appears before him ordering a return to the demise in his country, so he is transferred while thinking that without noticing he passed the trainee hunter level. At the same time, Kamurabayashi is standing with the swordsman, and Kamurabayashi asks him, "Did you hear?" So he replies, "Yes, I heard about Hiroto. It is impossible for him to survive the place he was in," and they both laugh mockingly. Then the expressions on their faces turn wicked and they say, "Then our mock battles will be in our favor." So another person who heard them enters, and asks them in surprise, "Do you not know the new rule that says you cannot enter a mock battle more than once only?" So both of them are shocked because they wanted to fight him both and defeat him. On the other side, Hiroto is in his room, and he remembers the day the orphanage found him thrown at the door unconscious, so he feels his memories stop from then and that all of this was a dream. then he accepts reality and takes his mobile and opens the Demon Lord system. And he looks at the screen and says there are only two explanations before me. Either there is something wrong in my head or what is happening in my life is real. Suddenly the door knocks and opens, and he finds the swordsman before him looking at him with strange eyes, and he tells him there is something I want to talk to you about. So Hiroto lets him in, and the swordsman asks him to be his opponent in the mock battle. So Hiroto agrees and extends his hand to him. And the swordsman continues his words and tells him, of course, if you have any other plans you must cancel them because you cannot do a mock battle with anyone else then. And if someone threatens you and forces you to enter a mock battle with him, and he grabs Hiroto's hand and squeezes it with all his strength and tells him I will make you remember this pain. But he is surprised that Hiroto is not affected at all even though he put all his strength into the squeeze. And Hiroto himself is surprised and thinks he is acting, but he remembers the pain tolerance skill. Then he says to himself, I do not know why, but last time as soon as I saw this swordsman I froze in my place from fear. But compared to the silver wolves this swordsman is nothing. The swordsman becomes angry at the mocking looks that appeared on Hiroto's face, and lunges with his punch at him. So Hiroto's mind sends a quick signal to his body and he avoids the strike involuntarily, and quickly he returns the blow to his face so the swordsman falls to the ground bleeding from the strike. Hiroto looks at his fist in astonishment, not believing he is the one who did that, and realizes his level has become much higher than the swordsman. The swordsman quickly gets up and grabs Hiroto by his clothes nervously and shouts at him saying, impossible that a weak person like you does this. What trick did you use? I will forgive you if you tell me. Hiroto is angry at his words yet decides not to respond to him with what he did to him so he does not become like him. So he tells him enough. The swordsman replies nervously, you are the one who hit me first. Impossible to let you go. So Hiroto holds his hand that was holding the shirt and presses on it strongly, so the swordsman pulls his hand away quickly and Hiroto tells him I will not bother you again. So do not bother me either. The swordsman is scared and stays silent. The next day Hiroto draws a blood sample from his hand to send to the school, and this is a procedure done every period to follow their health and condition as hunters. After Hiroto hands his sample to the doctor, something worries him. He asks himself, will my condition appear to them and they will know my level and statistics, and he is anxious and not reassured about the matter. On the other side the swordsman is at home with his friends, and hits his friend who tries to heal his wounds because he is angry, and says nervously, surely Hiroto did something. If he did not, then it would be impossible for him to punch me like that. But maybe he did something. Did he take anything from the demise? His friend replies that was a beginner's demise. Impossible to find anything there. The swordsman asks him nervously, then can you tell me how he came back from there? And how he came back fine when the wolves ate him? Kamurabayashi replies, more important than that we must discipline him for what he did to you. I will enter the mock battle with him and show him who we are. The swordsman replies angrily, wait. This is my chance for revenge and I am the one who will enter the mock battle with him. Kamurabayashi grabs him by his clothes and tells him angrily, first, the reason for this meeting of ours is what you did to yourself. Second, there is a body check before the battle, and I do not care if he has something or not. Anyway, he will not be able to handle me. And do not worry, after the battle we can hit him as much as we want. At night in the school clinic, the doctor is terrified after seeing the results of Hiroto's blood sample test. The female doctor with him asks what is it. He points to Hiroto's data and tells her this student has not even studied in any hunter school yet. And as you see, there is a point next to his condition, and this means he entered the dungeon paradox. He is surely one of the people who had the incident in training. I do not know how to report this to my superiors. He was at level 1 and suddenly became 15. She tells him no need to report the matter. We are not obliged to do that. And anyway, the dungeon paradox has strange things happening, and also surely many people will have such statistics if their performance was good in training. And besides that, the boy is category F, which is the lowest category, and will not grow more than this. He replies, but the matter is not logical. She tells him sarcastically, what logic are you talking about? Monsters appeared and the world changed and nothing is understood or logical at all. On the other side in a restaurant, Hiroto is sitting eating and all people are surprised at the amount of food he keeps eating. Even the owner of the restaurant mocks him and tells him, will you take all the food here? Yet Hiroto feels still hungry and asks himself, when did I become this gluttonous? Suddenly a woman comes and sits before Hiroto. He tells her in surprise, I do not think I saw you before. She replies, I am a head coach from Artemis Hunter Training School, and I come here every year to see if there is any excellent student in the mock battle. But I am shocked you do not remember me and I remember you. Hiroto remembers her because she approached Yuzuki before in one of the mock battles, and she explains to him that there are many schools, so the matter is like a war on who finds good hunters to join their school. And by the way, I see you every year, but I do not know why this time I feel you are a little different. Hiroto stays silent and does not reply to her. she asks him, were you in the dungeon incident? Did overcoming death affect your personality? And she tells him, I always hear that those who survive the dungeon paradox awaken a mysterious power. And I was researching this matter because I feel I want to do that. And she asks him to talk about what he went through and give her information. Hiroto replies, I do not mind talking, but only if you do not mind about my category F rank. She is surprised when she learns his rank and becomes nervous, and tells him, I think I was wrong. Sorry. He replies indifferently, never mind, it is a natural reaction. The teacher tries to fix the situation and gives him her number and tells him, call me if you need anything. Here Hiroto realizes there are two kinds of situations that happen from the strong against the weak, either mock him and try to take everything, or be overly kind with him. After a while in the battle arena of Hunter City Center, all the crowds are very excited and talk about the arena whose walls are made of special materials to endure the battles that happen in it. Suddenly Hiroto enters the player's room, so the swordsman and Kamurabayashi and their friends look at him with anger and disdain. The first battle is between Hiroto and Kamurabayashi. Before the battle starts, Kamurabayashi tells him, let us not consider this battle mock. Meaning in short, I will attack you with all my strength and there is a chance you die today. And anyway, the death of a person by accident in a mock battle is possible to happen normally. And I know if this happened in the past, Yuzuki would have come to save you. But your luck is bad and she is no longer here. And if you die today, you will be the second person who dies in our group. Hiroto is upset at his way of talking about Yuzuki and Akira. He replies with a very evil look and tells him, you mean we will not hold ourselves back, right? The referee gives the signal to start the battle. Kamurabayashi tells him, there is a reason I fight you today seriously. And it is that if I show something interesting to the researchers, this will improve my career. Suddenly he throws the wooden sword from his hand and Hiroto is surprised. Kamurabayashi continues, surely if I hit a person of category F in battle, no one will like that. And so I will use magic, and strong magical flames circle around him. Hiroto is shocked because having a fighter who can use magic is very rare, and realizes Kamurabayashi was hiding his true power when he was in the dungeon with them and decided to leave him to die then, though he could have saved him. Hiroto is angry and throws his sword too, and tells him, fine, I will use magic too. Kamurabayashi laughs loudly and tells him mockingly, what magic can a person of category F do? Surely at most you light a candle with your fire. Suddenly around Hiroto there is strong black magical energy and he charges a ball of magic in his hand. All the crowds are surprised how a person of category F does that. The signs of fear begin to appear on Kamurabayashi's face, and he tells him nervously, surely this is a trick. And he launches his little fireball at him. Hiroto launches the black energy ball in his hand and it erases Kamurabayashi's fire and is about to hit him, but Hiroto changes its course. Kamurabayashi is terrified and all the crowds are shocked at Hiroto's strength. Among the crowds is the teacher who sat with him while he ate. She is impressed with him and says, this is not third grade magic, even this is surely fourth. And she says in herself, last year it was Yuzuki and this year it will be this boy, and she leaves. At night we find Hiroto in his house on his bed, thinking of going to the same school that Yuzuki went to. And indeed he had paid the deposit to enter the school. He sleeps and dreams of a chained person before him and looks at him with anger. Hiroto wakes up in the morning and holds his mobile and is shocked when he finds written, remaining 36 hours on Demon Lord hunting event. And remaining time on your death 35 hours and 59 minutes. Hiroto tries to cancel that event but the mobile does not respond, yet he calms down and thinks that this application made him stronger, so if there is a chance to become even stronger he will face anything. At that moment he finds a notification on the mobile saying, if you want to avoid death, delete the Demon Lord application. And if there is no response within 24 hours, a rental contract for your internal organs will be executed. And there is a question, do you want to delete the application or not? After that Hiroto goes down to ride with a driver from the school to take him there. They pass by a city inhabited by monsters, and no one knows the reason this city became like that. So Hiroto asks him, is this not the famous city where the total collapse tragedy happened? The driver laughs and tells him, yes indeed, that happened 10 years ago, but the matter is safe now. Even so, the government abandoned this area. Hiroto asks him, so those allowed to live in this area are the zombies? He replies, precisely, those who live here are the zombies and those in Artemis Hunter School like you. He tells him that the demise in this city is still open, and if they do not defeat the monsters in it, another tragedy may happen. He approaches a big gate in a rock and tells him this is the demise. After that, all along the way the driver keeps belittling Hiroto's strength and his level, and tells him, do not raise your ambitions too much in this school. Suddenly Hiroto gets out of the car and opens the driver's door and pulls him. The driver is terrified, thinking he wants to kill him because of what he said, but Hiroto carries him on his shoulder and looks at the huge monster coming at them. The driver is terrified and tells him this monster is disaster level, so they both run quickly and hide. They look at the monster and find it stepping on their car and destroying it completely. The driver tells Hiroto 5 minutes remain and the students will come out of the demise. Let us wait for them here until the flame witch comes. Hiroto thinks that the flame which he means might be Yuzuki. He asks the driver, is this monster not very dangerous? Can the students even handle it? He replies there are many people stronger than the veteran level in this school and tells him I do not even know why a monster like this is roaming in this area. Let us wait here the 5 minutes until someone from the students stronger than you handles it. Suddenly Hiroto asks him, then the pistol in your pocket is real? The driver is shocked how he knew there is a pistol in his pocket and tells him ordinary weapons like these do not affect them at all. Hiroto holds his dagger and tells him give me the pistol. The driver is alarmed and asks him, do you really want to fight it? Are you crazy? Hiroto replies, of course I do not want to fight it, but I am forced to do that. The monster approaches them, so Hiroto tells him we have no other choice, hurry. The driver asks him angrily, are you stupid? I told you this weapon will not affect them, what do you want to do with it? He replies, tell you I am stupid, just give the weapon. The driver replies, these monsters have a barrier around them. And people who have an efficiency like the hunters also have the same barrier, and that is why only they can destroy the monster's barrier and attack them. Hiroto insists he give him the weapon and the monster's energy passes near them. Hiroto gets angry and tells him hurry. The driver gives him the weapon and tells him then at least tell me what you will do. Hiroto replies, I will be the bait. And these monsters are sensitive to the sound of the weapon or explosions. So if you shoot at them at a weak point, for example, it may do some damage. So I will get close to them and fire at them so they focus on me and I lure them away. The driver replies, I am impressed by your courage, but I believe there is no use in what you want to do. And regarding your condition, as I see it is impossible for you to fight 2 monsters of rank B at the same time. So I will ask you to run and leave me. Anyway, you are rank F and I cannot treat you as a hunter. But compared to an ordinary citizen like me, surely you are more important. Hiroto thinks that he only needs to provide 5 minutes until the rest of the students come and tells the driver, you stay here. He runs quickly toward the 2 monsters and fires into the sky. The 2 monsters look at him and Hiroto runs and they chase him. Hiroto dodges them with skill and speed. Suddenly he jumps on one of them and drives the dagger into its head and pulls it to cut it. At the same time Yuzuki is with her team in the demise. The spear bearer tells her your fire magic is very amazing. The mage replies with jealousy, if the swordswoman's magic is wonderful as you say, then what am I? The healer replies to her, by the way of the word swordswoman, she also has very strong skills in using the sword. And her level can make another swordsman back down when he sees her. And generally we all have great abilities, but she is at a completely different level. And that is why I told myself as long as I am with her I will be able to reach the deepest part of this dungeon. He asks Yuzuki, what do you think, we will be able to do it right? She replies with embarrassment, surely as long as we all do our part and cooperate. The mage replies arrogantly, it seems you know nothing. A huge dungeon like this has no record saying that mere trainees can conquer it. Yuzuki replies to her, well, we are 4 including you. And who knows, maybe we can conquer it. And I admit there is a gap between us in talent, but as long as we 4 are together surely we will manage. The mage replies angrily, you always look down on us. Well, for a genius like you of rank S it is very easy to be strong without much effort. The healer replies to her, do you not know that Yuzuki is the one who exerts the most effort at all? People call her the witch who does not sleep. She wakes up early before all of us and trains in using the sword. And at night she stays up learning magic. The swordsman asks her, why do you exert all this effort? Indeed, she tells them, because I was bullied when I was in the orphanage. And at that time a person defended me. They all are surprised that someone dared to bully her and the bigger surprise that someone tried to protect her. Yuzuki continues, and when the proficiency test came I learned that I am rank S and the person who defended me was rank F. And I was happy he helped me when I needed it, so I decided to be the one who protects people. The mage laughs mockingly and tells her very wonderful that a man protects a girl from bullying, and asks her, then why do you not exert this effort with him instead of being with us? Yuzuki replies, because everyone's abilities here are rank A and B, so I can actually do something and develop. But it is impossible to do that with him because he is at the lowest rank. Yuzuki approaches the demise gate and is shocked when she sees the driver running with so many monsters chasing him. At the same time, after Hiroto finished one, the second monster pounces on him quickly and angrily. Hiroto passes between its legs and jumps on its head as well and fires a bullet at it. The monster becomes very angry and grabs him. Hiroto realizes that indeed bullets will never affect them and will only anger them. So he cuts the monster's hand with the dagger and drives it into its head, killing it like the previous monster. But the matter does not end and he finds other monsters coming at him. On the other side, Yuzuki has finished all the monsters chasing the driver quickly and says this number is not normal. The swordsman replies to her, surely something bad is happening now. Yuzuki approaches the driver and asks him, where is the student you said made himself bait so you could escape? He points her to his direction and Yuzuki runs quickly. At the same time, Hiroto has finished all the monsters that appeared to him and is sitting among the corpses resting. A level up screen appears to him, and he finds he reached 17 and his statistics increased. He decides to walk to their car that was destroyed to see if anything is intact or not, but suddenly all the monsters he thought he killed get up and it turns out they were only unconscious. At that moment a demise gate opens before them. Hiroto is walking and thinking about the things he bought. He gets a notification from the Demon Lord application, so he opens to see and finds that 12 hours remain on his death. At the same time Yuzuki is searching in the direction the driver told her, but she finds two paths next to each other. So she uses the enemy detection skill and finds the way. She continues saying in herself, hunters of rank S only are the ones who can use this skill and see screens before them. And I now have power. Or more precisely, someone gave it to me. Even so, this world is very unjust. When I was a child I wanted to be a hero because I saw injustice destroyed before me because of a person who saved me. But now I can no longer depend on anyone because he no longer can protect anyone. Even so, the injustice of this world will not stop no matter what happens. And that is why I got this power. When she arrives she is surprised that the one who played the role of Bait is Hiroto. She takes him with her and her team in their car to deliver him and the driver with him to the school, but they make Hiroto ride in the car trunk, which is very bad treatment for Yuzuki's friend. On the way the swordsman tells the team, in the end we found that the brave person who played the role of Bait is one of Yuzuki's old acquaintances, and that he being at the same strength as rank D hunters before even registering in the school is a good thing, and we can say he is experienced. And if we compare him to ourselves before registering we can say he is at the same strength. The mage asks him slyly, do you want to add him to the team or what? He replies angrily, do not be stupid. The only impressive thing is his statistics. But he is still rank F, meaning the maximum he can reach is level 25. The mage looks at Hiroto and tells him this is just a disgrace, but Hiroto does not care, and says in himself, as I expected. They treat rank F badly. The swordsman asks Yuzuki, what is your relation to this student? She tells him, this is a dear person to me. We were siblings in the past and he used to protect me from bullying. The swordsman smiles mockingly and tells her, even so he is just a small freshman who cannot protect you now. She replies, yes, you are right. And that is why I must be the one to protect him. She tells Hiroto, if you will train in a dungeon come to me first and I will dedicate some time to guide you. Hiroto hears but does not reply, but the swordsman replies to her and tells her, you are mixing your public and private life. Your duty to your country is to live as an elite and not waste your time with a weak person like him. She tells him, no. For me, I who have no family, he is my only family. When they arrive the swordsman approaches Hiroto and tells him, welcome freshman. Come with me to the student union room, I want to talk to you about something important. At the same time in parts of the city there is a group of zombies whose bodies are white moving toward a building. An energy barrier activates around that building so all the zombies' bodies melt from the amount of energy. Suddenly strange orbs come out from the ground and gather into one orb. An orc like a huge bull comes out of it. After that a large group of the same creature comes out. They find before them a demise gate, so they all enter it. On the other side in the training room in the school, the healer tells the swordsman, wait, you want to make a mock battle on his first day here? I never heard of something like that before. The swordsman laughs wickedly and tells him, as the chosen person older than you, I want to teach this beginner the meaning of pain, and this is the tradition of our school and the way of success in it. The healer tells him he is not ready for something like this, then stays silent, feeling the matter is more personal. The swordsman tells Hiroto, your category is F and you have combat level of rank D, and at that level surely you cannot deal with the monsters you fought alone. And that is why I have no choice but to make you understand your place in this world. The mage replies, telling him, leave me out of this matter. I do not care if you want to bully him or whatever. This matter happened to me in the past and I do not like these traditions. Then she passes next to Yuzuki and asks her, our beautiful genius, did you get beaten in the past? Yuzuki replies, there was no one stronger than me in the disciplinary committee then, so it did not happen. The mage leaves the place. The swordsman goes to bring wooden swords to start the battle with Hiroto, but he allows Yuzuki to be present to be a witness to what will happen, so he is not accused of a crime. He throws a sword to Hiroto on the ground and tells him, get ready to receive some wounds for your benefit. Yuzuki replies angrily, I object to this battle. He tells her angrily, I say this as the head of the disciplinary committee that imposes order in the whole school, because if we leave him he will be a burden on his team and might endanger them. Yuzuki replies, bullying new arrivals is a bad tradition. I am not saying training is useless, but there are other better ways than this for training. He replies mockingly, here we follow the hunter's rules, and the school rules say that the head of the disciplinary committee is the one responsible here? Yuzuki replies angrily, well, I am the vice president of the student council, which is a higher rank than the whole disciplinary committee. And I order you to stop what you are doing. I will not allow anyone here to bully the weak. The swordsman is forced to throw the wooden sword on the ground and leave, and the healer goes out after him. Yuzuki tells Hiroto, I am sorry, but here your ability as a hunter is everything. She walks toward the door telling him, I know you will go through a lot and I wish you success. And do not forget the weak have their way in fighting, so please do not pressure yourself. Hiroto leaves as well, searching for the dorm he will sleep in. On his way the swordsman appears again and tells him, whatever Yuzuki said, I want to fight you. You need guidance. Hiroto asks him with full steadiness and confidence, can I start now? The swordsman replies yes. In a moment Hiroto disappears from before him and appears behind him. With one strike from Hiroto he loses consciousness. Hiroto holds him before he falls on his head and leaves him on the ground and walks away. In the past we learn that the swordsman's name is Kanzuya, who was born in an environment where he felt he was very special because his father and mother were elites, and one day someone older than him came to bully him and put his hand on his shoulder. So Kanzuya punched him in the face with all his strength and sent him flying into a shop window. From that time Kanzuya gained very great confidence in himself and became arrogant, seeing himself as the best and strongest person, and when he entered the elite school he was also stronger than all his classmates and superior to them in everything, so he gained even more confidence, until Yuzuki came and he found she was of a much higher rank than him. Then he decided she must be his future wife. The next morning Kanzuya wakes up and finds himself on the ground, so he is very surprised. On the other side the head of the school gathers all the students, and tells them sorry for this sudden meeting, but there is an emergency. Our school dungeon we found in it dangerous increases in mana ratio very greatly, and this means the number of monsters in it has increased excessively. And if the situation continues like this it will be dangerous for us and a disaster might happen. The only solution in this matter is that we defeat the monsters and reduce the mana ratio as long as it is still in our hands to control the situation. The problem is that there is no time to wait for support from the other schools, and that is why we will gather all the school students to fight. The students are terrified and say, we know this was in the contract of admission to the school, but was this not supposed to be only for emergencies? One of them replies, this is an emergency, you idiots. The head tells them, we know you are very worried, but before we were teachers we were elite hunters like you. So you will be divided into groups, each group led by an elite teacher. Please prepare and meet the teacher responsible for you. Hiroto stands and says in himself with astonishment, all this is happening on my first day in school. The teacher who was with him in the restaurant before meets him and tells him, I am sorry. I do not know if this is your bad luck or something else, and tells him you were supposed to apply as an advanced student and enter the best class in this school, Class A. The students hear her and say among themselves mockingly, Class A, is this not the hunter who is rank F? How could someone like that with no chance to develop in the future enter Class A? Suddenly Yuzuki enters and tells Hiroto, we must talk. She takes him and goes to another place, and Kanzuya sees them walking together, so he is upset. When they go out Yuzuki tells Hiroto, I think a disaster will happen in the dungeon. Hiroto is surprised and Yuzuki continues, this is just a hunch. And I think it is because of me since I am rank S. And she tells him, we the advanced students will deal with the dangerous monsters in the depths of the dungeon. But you and the other students will face the monsters near the entrance. And I came to tell you, if anything happens, no matter how small, come to me at once. Because if the disaster happens there will be no system and all will fight in fear. So it does not matter where you fight, whether in the depth or outside, come to me quickly so I protect you. On the other side there are 3 students sitting like a gang talking about the disaster that will happen in the dungeon and whether they will take a reward from the school or not, and thinking of running away from the matter. Suddenly Kanzuya enters them, so they ask him, you got something fun for us again? He tells them yes, but this time something trivial. I want you to kill someone. He tells them the plan and leaves. At the same time the countdown of the Demon Lord system ends and it writes room created. The next day at the dungeon entrance, the teacher stands giving the students instructions and formation, telling them the only person who will enter the dungeon depth is the coach with combat experience. The chosen students with Yuzuki will be in the center. As for all the other students, they will be at the dungeon entrance killing the weak monsters. Their numbers are many but most are small. He tells them, be careful, we must end this matter safely, so all must follow the instructor's orders. As for Class A, they will be a special case because they are the best classes in the school, so they follow the attack team in the deepest part of the dungeon. The Class A students are worried. A girl named Ito raises her hand and asks, then why do we go to the deepest part? We are still not strong enough. He replies, I do not expect from you more than to support the team ahead of you, meaning protect the injured until they are healed or catch the monsters that escape from the team ahead of you. As for those responsible for the entrance, they are Class B students or less. Hiroto is thinking about Yuzuki and afraid she will die in the place she is going into. Suddenly the instructor calls him and Ito, and tells them you two will not join the battle, stay with the attack team in the center. Hiroto asks in astonishment why. He replies, once the area is safe we need to make sure no monsters are entering again, so I want you to watch the entrance only. Ito asks in astonishment, we also are Class A students, why do you make us do that? He tells her because the members entering the depth trained well in the real world. And you two are not strong enough. We must choose well the members we invest in to be our strength in the future. And you two are from categories E and F. Thinking of the future, I found you two not suitable. The teams enter the dungeon and begin exterminating the goblins and little goblins to make their way inside. The mages burn all that comes before them with fire. The swordsmen kill the orcs and goblins. At the same time the gang Kanzuya agreed with fights very strongly and effectively in the battle. The instructor says as I expected. They got very bad evaluations because of their behavior, but their strength is rank A. What a waste. One of those students speaks to the instructor with disrespect, and asks him to let them handle themselves away from the others and without his orders. The instructor asks him in astonishment, you want to oppose me? The student replies, let us be honest. If we stay with these other weaklings they will drag us down and reduce our efficiency. And I think there will be no problem as long as we do what is required. The instructor replies angrily, so your behavior is bad and now you do not want to cooperate. You are a disgrace. The student replies, we just want to handle it our way. The instructor replies angrily, I am responsible here and I will never allow that. Here Kanzuya intervenes and tells the instructor calm down. Their abilities are first class, I do not think it is right to deal with them this way. He tells him allow me to lead them. The instructor agrees for Kanzuya's sake, and Kanzuya moves laughing an evil laugh telling them our target is the center guys. One of them named Oribi asks him, are you really going to introduce us to your father, the head of the main hunters guild in the country, if we follow your orders? Kanzuya replies with boredom, I told you many times I will keep my word. And you will be the Black Dragon Fong group in the guild and you will be responsible for the dirty work as you want. They all laugh and say like getting rid of a weak hunter in the dungeon and stealing. Oribi asks him, and killing also among the jobs, right? The dungeon is anyway a lawless zone. Kanzuya replies telling him, then I have a good chance for you. Our target now in the center is a woman, and we will say the monsters killed her so you can do what you want. They all are happy and agree. On the other side in the dungeon center, Yuzuki and her team face monsters similar to what Hiroto met the first time he came to this city. Yuzuki defeats them easily and quickly with her sword. She uses her air step magic that makes her walk on air. She dodges the monsters and finishes them with flame magic. They all are impressed by her. Hiroto is watching her and says in himself as expected from her. Then he looks at Ito next to him and tells her, I want to ask you a question. She tells him, no problem, call me Murano. He asks her in astonishment, what is this? Is that Italian? She tells him, no, that is my first name. Avoid formality. He greets her and tells her, my name is Ijima. Then asks her, is it not supposed there is another person in Yuzuki's team wearing silver armor? She replies, yes, that is Kanzuya, and he was asked to go with the Class B students at the entrance. He tells her then another question. You do not mind shaking my hand when I am lower than you in category? In the orphanage they used to bully me and I found here no difference either. She laughs and tells him, do not worry, I am actually from the rank higher than you by not much. He feels she is a good person. After a while Ito feels bored and tells him, we are useless. All we do is just watch. He replies telling her, if the monsters pass us they will go to the entrance at once and cause much damage. She tells him, I know it is an important role, but if I see any monsters here I will run and we will be safe as long as I report. Suddenly they hear the sound of something approaching. She looks behind and finds two minotaur-like bulls. They both are surprised because it is not supposed to appear in this dungeon at all. Ito tells him, wait, are these not a very high level for students like us to handle? Hiroto asks her, did you not say you would run if you saw a monster? She replies nervously, even if I ran to report there is no place to run to at all. Hiroto pulls out his dagger and tells her, then we must do something. Ourselves. She tells him, wait, are you seeking death for a girl? Leave the matter to me. She charges at the monster so it strikes down on her with its axe. Ito jumps and lands with the spear on its back with very fast strikes. Hiroto is impressed by her skills and agility. Ito lands on the ground and charges the monster again, but her strikes do not affect it and do not even hurt it. But suddenly she manages to pierce its body, so the other monster fears her and runs away. Hiroto asks her, how did you pierce its body with that last strike? She replies telling him the weak point of monsters that are like humans is their throat. So if you use their attack and strike at them when they are charging you can pierce them. He tells her, but your fighting style is amazing. It is like what we learn in our school, but it looks different in the basics a little. She replies yes, and that is why I entered Class A. She asks him, do you know Ito Sai? He asks her that is the sword master from another era. There is a legend about his style in using the spear. She replies telling him, I am proud, I am from a samurai family, but unfortunately I am rank E. But I try to cover my weakness by discovering every monster's weak point and learning more martial arts. In the end I found myself here. Hiroto is surprised that the instructor excluded her from battle despite these amazing abilities. Ito shouts angrily and says about the instructor, you stupid hunter. All those born with talent are idiots. There must be equality between all. Then she tells him, fine, I became better. Try it yourself too. Hiroto feels embarrassed and tells her no thanks. Ito continues and tells him, and although when I train I give all my effort and more, I feel they mock my family's techniques and that made me feel troubled. She stays silent a while and tells him, but do not worry, you will be safe with me. Even though I cannot increase my power, I am the strongest in the first year now. Suddenly Orobi and his gang come in. Orobi tells Ito, you are the star who shined in the mock battle of the school. Although your rank is low, your martial arts left an impression. But as long as the first-year students now are increasing their strength, and that is something you cannot do because of your rank, in the end you will be the weakest one of them. She asks him angrily, and what brought you here? He tells her, because our leader is here. He looks at Kanzuya and says he has something to finish with Hiroto. Kanzuya tells Hiroto, I came to settle a personal matter, and there is no place more suitable than this to say the excuse that accidents are natural in any dungeon and he died because of monsters. And the dead do not tell what happened. Hiroto understands he came for revenge because of the punch that made him lose consciousness. Orobi continues and tells him, but do not think the matter will end quickly because we have orders to give you a death worthy of you. Ito says in herself, I heard many rumors about them, but I did not imagine the matter reached this degree. Hiroto asks them, if the dead do not tell what happened, what will you do with Ito? Kanzuya replies, since you two got along well, I will let the guys do what they want with her. In a flash, Hiroto is beside Kanzuya and punches him with a very strong blow. Ito is shocked, who was thinking how she will protect Hiroto and escape from the place that he preceded her. Hiroto continues with his amazing speed and finishes the rest of the gang in less than a second. Ito's mouth is wide open from the shock. She drops to her knee. At the same time, in the deepest place of the dungeon we find the number of monsters very great. One of the elite mages tries to gather his energy and all the monsters surround him. Suddenly he presses them with magic and explodes them. In one of the laboratories there are many samples of strange experiments, among them a sample of an incomplete monster. It's named the sixth demon lord Fascia Falton. Suddenly a flame of energy enters it and it opens its eye. In another place in the dungeon a black knight fully armored is formed. We discover that it is the sixth demon lord, but this time his name is Black Ashur of level A+. When a monster of this level appears, all the guilds abandon the idea of raiding any dungeon and flee because it is the beginning of tragedy. On the other side we find two hunters who finish their work. One of them says to the other, you do not look nervous. He replies, honestly I was nervous when they said there is an emergency. But I found the matter not worth it in the end. All we did were small things and now we are just watching. Suddenly Black Ashura enters upon them. At the same time Hiroto and Ito have tied up all of Orobi's gang. Ito tells Hiroto, I heard you are at the level of a seasoned hunter, but your true strength is higher than a student's level at all. She asks him, can you tell me the secret of your strength? He replies very casually, I cannot tell you. Ito is surprised and asks him, what do you mean? I told you the weak points of the monsters I know. Are you a secret agent or what? He tells her no, the matter is not like that. Suddenly Black Ashura enters upon them. The moment Hiroto sees him he remembers Yuzuki when she fought him, feeling a disaster will happen. A stats screen appears before him and he finds the agility stats are in a different color. He feels it is trying to warn him of something. Ashura draws his sword and suddenly charges at Hiroto with terrible speed. Hiroto draws the dagger to block, but Ashura disappears from before him and appears behind him. He brings the sword down so Hiroto barely evades, but is wounded in his shoulder. He realizes he is faster than him and understands why the stats screen was warning. Quickly he charges at Ashura intending to fight seriously. He takes from his pocket a pouch with a mixture of hot pepper he had prepared to defend himself. He throws it at the knight's face and detonates it with fire magic at his face. The pouch ignites strongly in Ashura's face. Hiroto reaches him but is surprised that the knight's body inside the armor is just a skeleton. Ashura quickly counters with his sword so Hiroto tries to guard with the dagger but it slips from his hand. Ashura moves quickly toward him so Hiroto prepares. He grabs his arm and flips him to the ground with all his strength. He seizes the horn coming out of the helmet and strikes with all his strength at his throat with his other hand. Ito is surprised he knows how to use judo. He tells her, I am like you. Because my rank is low I tried everything to become stronger and I struggled a lot. They sit together afterward and Ito asks in astonishment, this school's dungeon is supposed to be a monster dungeon only. So why is there an armored skeleton of the zombie type here? Hiroto thinks again of Yuzuki when she said a disaster will happen. He says, I am worried about Yuzuki and thinking of going to her. Ito is more surprised and asks him, you are worried about the strongest person in the whole academy. She tells him, but are you sure you will actually help her? As for me, I will not be able to do anything if I go with you. I think I will stay here. She clenches her fist in anger and trying to hold back her tears. She tells him, although since I was young I always gave all my effort to become stronger. Her eyes brim with tears, but suddenly a notification interrupts on the mobile. She looks and finds the same message Hiroto found from the Demon Lord system. She is surprised and says, what is this? Hiroto tries to keep her from knowing so she does not become like him, and tells her that must be a virus. Then she tells him, if you are really going there alone, you must promise me something. Hiroto is surprised and asks her something. What? She replies, it will be hard for me to sleep knowing the person who saved me will die. So you must promise me you will return alive. And also because I want to treat you to a cup of coffee when we return to the academy. Hiroto is surprised but likes her words and promises her and shakes her hand before leaving. But suddenly he gets a notification on the mobile from the Demon Lord system and finds the agility stats are in a different color also. He says the matter is getting worse. There are many knights like the one we killed. At the same time, Black Ashura's knights are spread in the place, killing all the hunters and students. One of the trainers tries to control the panic in the place. She shouts saying, pull yourselves together a little. Are you not all trying to become hunters? They tell her in fear, we are not real hunters yet. She replies, but this is one of the incidents that can happen to you in any demise normally and you must deal with it. And you are lucky this time you have strong trainers with you, including the strongest swordsman in the world, Instructor Godai. They are reassured a little and the teacher tells them, I will take command. A group of armored hunters gathers around them to protect them. But suddenly while the trainer is talking, a sword pierces her head. All the students are terrified and look at Instructor Godai and find him already dead, so they return to a state of panic and terror again. On the other side, in the deepest place of the dungeon, the healer puts his hand on Yuzuki's shoulder and tells her even the trainers do not know what to do. You are our only hope because there is nothing you cannot do. Yuzuki thinks of her strongest skill, which is the battle dragon spirit. It covers her body with fighting spirit and her stats double temporarily, but they had told her this skill draws from her lifespan when she uses it. The healer selfishly tells her, I know this skill draws from your life, but there is no one else who can save us. Please use your life to save us. Yuzuki says in herself, there is still no proof this skill counts from my life. But all those around me are very selfish. She removes his hand from her shoulder and draws her sword. The healer thanks her and Yuzuki activates the skill and flames swirl around her. She tells those behind her, support me with all your power, and says in herself, I have no other solution because I am a kind strong heroine and this is my role and I must fulfill it. Ito is surprised and asks him, are you serious? He tells her, yes, more than 10 are coming here now. And I do not know how to explain to you, but I am sure of what I say. Stay hidden in your place. Suddenly they really appear and Hiroto feels it is impossible to handle them all alone. The first knight charges at him, so he evades his sword quickly. The second attacks him and he steps away, then one from behind lunges and pierces his body. Hiroto falls to the ground and dies. A screen appears that says if the player's death is confirmed during the registration period the system will be stopped. The screen changes and it writes a match found with the sealed Demon Lord seed named Toshin Ryu Vritra, and the player will be transferred to Vritra's field. Indeed, Hiroto is transferred to another place. Very strange. Suddenly he finds a huge dragon before him, and finds a screen before him written start of the Demon Lord hunting tutorial. At that moment the dragon breathes fire on him, so Hiroto dies. He forms in another place and finds a question, what did you feel in facing Vritra for the first time? Another screen appears saying in the presence of the tutorial the player will not die because there is a skill from a higher being protecting him. The condition to acquire a new skill is to kill Vritra. If it does not happen within 3600 seconds the player will be considered surrendered and then he will lose any high level or acquired skill. He finds there is around him a barrier with a certain area. If he wants to surrender he stays within the barrier's range until the time limit ends. Suddenly a sword forms beside him and a screen appears saying it can cut anything except Vritra's scales. Hiroto is very flustered and says then that means the sword is useless. Then he composes himself and thinks again about all the factors he has. He comes out with a plan and feels certain of it also, but he is tempted by the idea that he can stay in his place and surrender, and that is it instead of risking, but then realizes that means he will return to the dungeon he was in and be tormented by the knights. He hits himself to focus and recover. He grabs the mobile and decides to trust the application that made him this strong. He takes the sword and leaves the barrier. He runs at the dragon quickly, so the dragon stretches its hand. Hiroto dodges and climbs it, then jumps. The dragon opens its mouth to eat him and Hiroto indeed falls inside and the dragon swallows him. Hiroto falls into its stomach and says very good. Since the sword cuts everything except the dragon's scales, then it will cut it from inside normally. But the shock is that the dragon's stomach acid dissolves his body and the game forms his body again. He continues in this torment and pain for long and blames himself for his recklessness. He remembers from the start what caused all this. He says in himself, I think all this was because I wanted strength. Or rather because I did not want Yuzuki to look at me as weak again. He holds the sword again while his body melts and reforms. He controls his nerves and strikes at the stomach wall of the dragon, piercing its body with all his strength. The dragon falls from the sky to the ground. Hiroto emerges from inside and a screen notification appears before him saying the hunter ability has reached its limit, and after that experiences will accumulate but cannot be added to his strength because his rank is low. Afterward another screen appears saying returning the player to his original location. On the other side, Yuzuki remembers when she was young she and Hiroto played together a game on mobile. Yuzuki tells him the heroes you find in games are always kind and strong. He replies, then I will be the hero next round and you will be the healer. Yuzuki gets upset and asks him, why do you always say I am the healer? He replies, because fighting is the boy's role. And because I do not want to see you hurt ever. Yuzuki says in herself, when I think of what Hiroto said, then I feel he was right even if it was old thinking. She remembers when he said, and not just in the game, if you find yourself in trouble just call me and you will find me coming to help you. She says in herself, I do not hate that side of Hiroto. After that time passed and the role of heroine I asked to play in the game happened for real. Although I was better in the role of healer. From then on all depended on me and the pressure and burden increased and it was too much on me. She looks around unable to move and says, after all died only I remain and all I could do was kill only one knight. She looks at the ground and asks, does that mean I was not a real heroine? She says, I think I will die this time for real. Then she stands again gathering her courage. She says, I cannot die here. But her trembling hands fail her, refusing to stand. She realizes she is afraid of what she sees before her. She says in herself, I was optimistic all my life to the extent I never had time to feel fear. And that was because I acted in the way all wanted me to act. The sword falls from her hand and she says, but the truth is that all the time I was weak. Her tears fall to the ground and she says, someone save me. Hiroto, Black Ashur, is before her and before he brings down his sword Hiroto appears and pierces him with one kick. Quickly he kicks the other, breaking him. Yuzuki looks at him in astonishment, remembering when he told her, when you are in trouble call me and you will find me. She asks herself, why is he stronger than me? And how can someone of rank F be strong enough to reach here in the deepest place? Hiroto continues destroying the knights one after another. Yuzuki's mind keeps questioning. Then she cries and says, but if you are truly this strong, why did you not come a little faster? He replies, I came at my fastest. I will finish them and come to you. He activates the skill he gained from the dragon he defeated. One knight strikes at him with the sword, so Hiroto stops it with only his fingers. With the dagger in his other hand he slices him in two like cake. Quickly he charges at the rest and eliminates them all. Yuzuki tells him all monsters have been exterminated, then with sadness says, and allies too. Hiroto replies in astonishment, true that all in this area died, but surely those at the entrance are still alive. She shows him a blue crystal used for communication because there is no dungeon network. She tells him we lost contact with them a while ago. He tells her there is still one survivor. A girl named Ito. I told her to hide until I come, and when I returned I found she disappeared. Surely those knights kidnapped her, so I must rescue her. She replies, telling him, surely I will come with you to help you. And also because it is safer for me to be beside you. She puts her hand on his shoulder and this time the look of weakness she had for him changes. She tells him, I will depend on you. But suddenly they are both shocked when Ito's corpse falls before them, pierced with many knives. Hiroto feels hopeless because every time he tries to save someone he loses another person, and he remembers when Ito told him she would invite him for a cup of coffee when they get out of here, so he gets very angry and attacks the knights, cutting them down with rage and fury, and Yuzuki tries to call out to him and calm him down, but he doesn't listen. After that incident, Artemis Academy was closed forever, and the officials told all beginner hunters to go to another academy, so Hiroto and Yuzuki go out to the garden, and with sadness Yuzuki asks him, what will you do now? Hiroto thinks and answers, I decided to be a peaceful person. Anyway, I don't have good memories in the cells. And not only the monsters. Even the humans were a bunch of useless, worthless creatures. But I still remember every person who helped me and treated me well, so I won't consider them humans. She She tells him sadly, I understand. But why don't you want to tell me the reason for this power of yours? And why did you tell me to report that I was the one who killed all the dungeon monsters? I listened to you because I felt you had special circumstances, but is this something you really can't tell me? Hiroto gets upset because the issue isn't that he doesn't trust her. The point is that he can't explain something he still doesn't understand, and he still doesn't know what this demon lord system that suddenly appeared to him is. And he's also afraid that if the Hunters Guild finds out by chance, they'll treat him even worse than they already do. He tells her, all I want is to be able to protect myself and those around me. And I told you before, no matter what you do I'll help you. But sorry, I need some time alone. And don't tell anyone anything about me. And he clenches his fist tightly from anger and says to himself, sorry, just give me a little time. She answers sadly, okay. I don't know what happened to you, but next time I'll be happier if you come to save me a little faster. And she smiles at him, so he replies, I told you I came as fast as I could. And they laugh together and walk away. At night, Hiroto is sleeping in the hotel and very relaxed. Suddenly his phone lights up because of the Demon Lord app, and a notification appears saying emergency mission. A match has been detected and the Demon Lord hunt has started. So Hiroto is transferred to a virtual world, and he's shocked to see a screen in front of him saying the condition for victory is the death of one of the players. He looks ahead and is even more shocked when he sees Ito alive, and a screen appears in front of both of them saying do the impossible to kill each other. Ito doesn't understand anything that's happening and doesn't know how she got here, and a screen appears in front of her like Hiroto's, and she finds the same words written on it that he saw, so she's terrified and tries to remember what happened to her. She remembers that she died at the hands of the knights, and Hiroto cuts off her thoughts and asks her in shock, do you know the Demon Lord app? She asks in confusion, do you mean the strange virus that appeared on my phone? Hiroto realizes that there are other people like him. Ito gets very nervous and asks him what is happening here. If you know something, tell me. On the other side, in a very dark place, there are the people controlling the Demon Lord app. In front of them is a screen showing the statistics of Hiroto and Ito, and their leader says people will get bored of this situation. Try to disturb them without interfering in their battle, so they start fighting. And if that's not enough, play with their minds. At the same time, Hiroto tells Ito everything, and says, I also can't believe how I became this strong. And anyway, like last time, surely after 3600 seconds the fight will end in a draw without anyone killing the other. And at that moment a screen appears to both of them saying there's no draw this time and the fight won't end until someone dies. They're both shocked and suddenly their right ears start bleeding and they're in severe pain, and a screen appears saying, warning, if you keep standing still you'll be punished. Hiroto doesn't understand what's happening and can't process it, and Ito realizes there's no other solution except to kill instead of being killed. Hiroto gets very nervous and says angrily, what are you saying? Then he realizes that she's actually right and they have to start fighting, and suddenly Ito jumps high and comes down on him with her spear. Hiroto jumps away and sees that the place where she struck broke the ground. So he says to himself, if she touches me I'll definitely get hurt. He attacks her and blocks all her strikes with his hand because he doesn't have a weapon. And because of the big difference in stats between them, no matter how skilled Ito is with the spear, she can't hit Hiroto. He feels pity for her because she's much weaker than him. Then he asks himself angrily, why are we even trying to kill each other? And realizes that this Demon Lord app is affecting his mind and controlling him somehow. So when he gets distracted, one of Ito's punches hits his face. He feels like he woke up and says loudly, I'm sorry, and kicks her very strongly, sending her flying. She wakes up and tells him, I'm sorry too. A screen appears in front of them saying, please kill each other. Hiroto screams loudly and says no. Ito does the same exactly, and at that moment a screen appears saying, title acquired, the one who challenges the will, and they both gain the skill enemy search and escape skill. Hiroto is shocked and filled with doubt, and says to himself, whose will did we challenge? Then says, never mind, what's important now is how to get out of here. He thinks for a bit and feels that ever since these screens appeared there's someone who's making all this happen, meaning behind this app there are people betting on their fight, and he also thinks that the title and skills they gained might be a hint, so he tells Ito, I think the one who brought us here wants us to escape, not fight each other, as if it's a test. Then he looks towards a strange door near them and says, I feel like we have to enter it. They enter it indeed, and the corridor is very dark, so Ito gets scared, and they have little time left and must move quickly. Suddenly both of them get cut on their faces, and a screen appears in front of them telling them to look at their health points. When they look, they find the situation very bad and the health points are about to end. Hiroto finds something very strange written, which is Global Intervention Authority 33%, and he gets annoyed by it, but it's not the time to check what it is, because their life points keep decreasing at a strange speed, and while they're running they keep getting more and more cuts on their bodies, and with this blood loss moving becomes harder and their speed also decreases. So Ito loses hope and tells him let's go back instead. It says if we go back this punishment will stop. He answers if we go back what will we gain? We'll just try to kill each other again. And Hiroto catches with his eyes that they're getting close to a light source. As soon as they get near it, Ito loses consciousness from the amount of blood she lost, so Hiroto tries to wake her up because there isn't much left, and when she can't stand he carries her and keeps walking. His life points reach 3 and still keep dropping. Hiroto regrets the day he agreed to this app, and when his life points reach 0 he has already come out from the door at the end of the corridor. A screen appears in front of him saying the players have obtained the title of the one who rebels against the world. On the other side, the people responsible for this app say their success rate of escaping together is high. It's been a long time since we last saw such a big difference in stats, and they decide to heal the damage they suffered on their way, as compensation because they were the reason they fought each other in the arena. Hiroto returns to the hotel again and sits holding his phone, and Ito comes out of the bathroom after showering. He asks her about her wounds and she tells him there's nothing at all. He's surprised because he's in the same state and there's no wound on his body. He looks again at the phone and finds the 3 titles that appeared and says they surely have some kind of connection with each other. Ito tells him if there really is a person responsible for this app, one think he's not a bad person. Hiroto is very surprised. She says the situation was really very hard but we reached the end, and he left us a way to avoid fighting each other. He tells her no, this app isn't as wonderful as you imagine. On the other side and in the same hotel, Yuzuki is in her room, looking at the room window and feeling it's like the game screen, and wondering why the other people from the other ranks don't see this screen like me. Suddenly a new hunt mission notification appears in front of her, and she finds written that the ones to be killed are players who have a forbidden version of the app. The first is Hiroto and the second is Ito. Their locations will be sent within 10 days and there will be a reward if she finds their locations before the 10 days, and when she finds them she'll have 24 hours to kill them. At the same time Ito asks Hiroto, what do you mean that this app isn't as wonderful as I think? Then a screen appears in front of her saying 10 days left until the death hunt. They both don't understand what this notification means, but they realize that even if they escape there's still a game in their hands. The next day Hiroto calls Yuzuki and tells her what happened, and she also tells him she got the mission and refused it because she doesn't want to fight him, but the problem isn't solved yet and the mission will go to anyone else from rank S like her. He asks her, do the hunters from rank S see the status screen or something like the game? She answers yes. It seems you're involved in something. He tells her it's better you don't know. I can't tell you now, and asks her, do you have in mind someone who might accept the mission you refused? She tells him this matter isn't known among normal people, but there's an organization made by hunters from rank S and its name is Demon Lord Hunters, and because I was still a student at that time I didn't understand their requirements to join them. But I talked once with one of the members and he told me that the reason for choosing this name is that rank S is strong enough to kill the Demon Lord. Hiroto is shocked and thinks that the appearance of monsters, Demon Lords, and the Demon Lord Hunters are all connected. He decides not to reveal his identity and abilities to anyone after that until he understands what's really happening, and especially the rank S hunters. Yuzuki asks him, how is Ito alive now when we were sure she was dead in front of us? You can't tell me that either. He says sorry I can't. Yuzuki gets very sad and answers, fine, whatever you see. You said you want the names of the people who disappeared in the dungeon and specifically those of the same height and age as Ito. He says yes, and she explains that the government left the responsibility of the dungeon in the hunters' hands and they're the ones who make the rules. But this place doesn't have rules at all. As long as the dungeon doesn't disturb the outside world the government won't interfere. So the problem here is that surely the hunters secretly took the identities of the people who disappeared. She asks him about his location, so he says that he's always moving with Ito because they don't know when the enemy might attack. She asks him to give her his address and she'll handle it and send him what he needs. Hiroto ends the call before she can ask another question. She gets very upset and says to herself he doesn't want to tell me anything so he won't bother me, and feels he doesn't trust her at all. On the other side, Hiroto is with Ito in a very big mall walking among people to stay hidden. They're looking for another place to sleep tonight. Ito asks Hiroto, what will we do about money? He gives her his phone to buy whatever she wants and assures her he got a big reward from the last dungeon he was in. Then he tells her, we'll go to another dungeon tomorrow and I'm sure you'll become stronger soon. He remembers her skill that she used on him in the fight and tells her thanks to that skill I won't worry about what we'll face in the dungeon, but he's surprised she's not standing beside him at all. He finds her standing looking through the glass of a shop at a doll that looks very cute, but he doesn't find it silly and tells her let's go. He talks to her again about the dungeon but she disappears again and he finds her looking at the same doll in another shop. He's surprised that the doll is famous and sold in every shop. He sees that Ito's eyes are shining and she wants the doll and acts kindly and he feels she's a very strange girl, so he buys it for her and she's very happy and thanks him. When they reach the place they'll sleep and he hears a notification sound. He thinks Yuzuki is calling him again, but he's surprised by a notification from the Demon Lord app, and it says a gift has been received from Lord Fjord. He finds it is the heavy sword of genocide, a rare sword from rank SS that grows and increases its power by absorbing blood, and he also finds the item box that can store anything at any time. Ito notices something strange and asks him, why did you stop? He answers nothing. At the same time, in one of the dungeons that were under the management of Artemis Academy, there is a group of hunters fighting one of the Black Knights, and they find that they can't defeat him and start to worry. So one of them tries fire magic on him and they find it affects him a lot, so he uses a stronger fire technique and finishes him. They feel happy with the feeling of victory and say the matter needed 5 of rank B to defeat him. One of them answers, there are many of these things inside and with our current level we can't deal with them. We came here to investigate and report, and any other guild will handle the matter because they have a bigger number of rank B hunters. Another person tells him, I don't think we can make them send hunters from rank A because if they do there will be a big commotion. And they'll refuse also because of the budget. Suddenly a white knight appears to them similar to the Black Knights but much bigger and looks stronger. The knight moves very fast for his size and cuts the body of one of the hunters. They all realize they must escape, but because of the knight's speed they can't. One of them tells them, whoever gets out of here report to the guild immediately, and at that moment the white knight cuts his head and only 2 hunters of rank B remain. A hunter full of confidence enters and he's not wearing any armor or holding any equipment. They say he looks like he's from rank S. The white knight attacks and swings his axe on him. The hunter blocks his strike with his hand and there's a very evil smile on his face. He raises his hand sending the knight flying, then runs to him, grabs him from his side and presses hard so the knight dies. The remaining hunters are shocked how the knight that killed the rank B hunters with 1 strike dies. Like that. One of them says this hunter is rank B like us but his ability is rank S. Although he lacks experience his power is equal to upper rank A hunters now and very soon he'll be rank S. The hunter who killed the knight hears him and says to himself, he's right, but even for me it's impossible to kill this monster with 1 strike. Without the shop feature that appears for rank S hunters and a necklace I bought for 15,000 coins to increase my strength I couldn't defeat him. Suddenly a screen appears in front of him with the Demon Lord hunt mission that Yuzuki refused. He's very happy because he'll kill 2 people and get 10,000 coins. He opens to see the weapons that were unlocked and finds the sword of genocide was sold. He's very surprised who among the rank S hunters has the money to buy that weapon. The hunters who remain see him distracted and interrupt his thoughts, asking him is something wrong. He answers no. But by the way, this monster was from rank S, right? One of them answers yes. He tells them then it will be a good excuse. A group of rank B hunters faced a monster of rank S and all died except me because I'm much stronger than them. Meaning thanks to 5 people who sacrificed themselves I could defeat it and come out alive. They're shocked and ask him, what are you planning to do? He tells them the dead can't speak. And all the things and equipment you have I'll take and sell. One of them answers nervously, please don't do that. Surely you'll get caught when they check the equipment after you leave here. It happened many times before. The hunter grabs his mouth and tells him on the contrary, I have a skill called item box, I can store anything in it. And you never heard before the stories about rank S hunters who enter dungeons with lower ones and come out alone? Or are you like the rest of the people thinking they're mythical stories? I'll tell you the truth. The rank S hunters kill them so they won't be exposed. And that's why I'm very grateful to you and to your effort in collecting this equipment. He presses on him and blows his head. Then he goes to the girl and tells her, I want to enjoy killing you, and punches her until death just to hear her screams, and intends to hunt Hiroto and Ito. On the other side, Hiroto and Ito meet a landlady and agree with her about the money and everything. Then Yuzuki enters and hears that Hiroto and Ito will stay together, so she gets jealous of Ito. She gives him the papers and data he asked from her and leaves upset because he hides everything from her, and tells him angrily, I hate when someone treats me like his assistant. After that, Hiroto and Ito go to the guild and stand in front of the data screen, searching for a dungeon where they can develop their skills quickly. Hiroto says to himself, our main goal now is to avoid the person who will hunt us. But no matter where we are, our location will be revealed at the set time. That's why we must be ready by then and stronger. He thinks in his head, I'm from rank F and that means I've already reached the maximum limit. Even so, as long as I kill monsters I can become stronger. But the problem is that Ito doesn't have the gluttony skills I have. But she still hasn't reached the maximum limit because she's from rank E, and besides her combat skills are very high and compensate for her lack of stats. Thanks to that we can fight a high-level monster and raise our level quickly. Ito tells him as I expected. It's hard to find a dungeon that raises our level quickly. He answers yes, for us to raise our level we must defeat all the strong monsters in it. But because of safety rules the dungeon we can enter as rank F hunters has a very hard condition, which is that we must use magic. Ito tells him the matter of a hunter raising his rank takes a long time. In our case from rank F to E it can take a month. He tells her so we have only two options. The first is to invade the dungeon and we'll avoid that because it's against the rules. And the second is this, and he points to a mining mission in a rank B dungeon. Suddenly the rank S hunter who hunts them enters the guild. Ito is surprised that the mission requires a porter to carry anything. He tells her in these dungeons there are two missions, porter or guard. And surely fighting the monster is the guard's job, but there's no law that prevents the porter from fighting monsters too. The rank South hunter gets close to them, and before he sees them the guild employee calls him, telling him you're amazing Tomia. Because of your achievements yesterday you'll get an exception and become rank A. Tomia smiles arrogantly and the employee tells him you must go to the reception room to complete the promotion procedures. He answers I'll talk to the vice president of the Hunters Guild. The employee gets shocked and says of course you're now a national treasure and surely you have special treatment. After a while Hiroto and Ito reach the dungeon place. There they find some arrogant rank C hunters and one of them is angry at his teammate and throws him to the ground because he asked him to make an announcement that they need a porter but a girl. The other member tells him but if you write that it must be a girl no one will come at all. He sees Ito and offers her to be their team's porter. But he talks to her in a very bad way because she's from a lower rank. Hiroto gets angry and Ito grabs his hand before he does anything and she threatens them that she'll tell the Hunters Guild. They tell her you're still a beginner and don't know that dungeons have no laws, and he threatens to kill her. Then one of his teammates stops him and they enter the dungeon. They start fighting the monsters and Hiroto notices that they act too brutally and their behavior itself isn't good for hunters with that much experience. Suddenly the ceiling of the dungeon collapses and a rank S monster with 3 wolf heads comes down. They're surprised that a monster like this exists in a rank B dungeon. One of the hunters thinks of making someone bait so he can escape from this situation. Hiroto pulls out the genocide sword that needs to drink human blood to grow in size and power. Hiroto decides to try it so he suggests to them that he'll be the bait so they can leave and he can use his full power. He asks them to take Ito and leave the place. Ito refuses because she doesn't want to leave Hiroto to fight alone. The others agree and take her by force. Hiroto apologizes to her and says I know we came here to raise your level, but this monster is way above your level. The monster charges fire in its mouth and attacks Hiroto so he jumps from his place quickly and dodges its fast moves. He jumps again, opens the box, takes a sword and throws it at one of the wolf heads, but it doesn't cause any damage and angers it more. He realizes that this monster is stronger than the Black Knights he fought before. The monster runs at him so Hiroto runs toward it too. Hiroto jumps and lands on it with the genocide sword, cutting it in half. He says to himself I never imagined that the weapons coming from this app are this powerful, and a new skill appears in front of him called Demon Lord of Gluttony. His strength stats increase by 5 points. He tries to connect the dots and thinks about the timing when this weapon appeared and the death hunt, realizing that he won't survive without making this sword stronger and feeding it human blood. Suddenly he sees someone approaching him. The man looks at him in surprise and asks are you the one who did this to the monster? Hiroto gets nervous and doesn't know if he saw him or not, so he decides to wait and see what he wants first. To change the subject Hiroto introduces himself first. The other man gets embarrassed and says right I should have introduced myself first. My name is Shingo from rank S and I'm the 4th highest hunter in the country. Hiroto is shocked and thinks he's the one with the Demon Lord hunt mission. Shingo extends his hand with a strange card. Hiroto gives no reaction. Shingo is surprised and asks are you a new hunter or what? He tells him it's a custom among hunters to show your hunter guild license when you meet a colleague you don't know inside a dungeon. Hiroto takes the license from him and finds that he's 45 years old and his rank is S, but what stops him is that his current ability is a rank A hunter. He remembers when Yuzuki told him that only people with rank S abilities can see the game screen, meaning Shingo has no relation to the Demon Lord hunt. Hiroto gives him his license too. Shingo is surprised that he's rank F. He tells him I suffer among the rank S hunters but you suffer much more than me. He looks again at the 3-headed monster and asks then who did this to it? Hiroto answers nervously. When the monster attacked me someone passed by here and saved me. Hiroto feels he won't believe that but suddenly he hears him say so he came also because of X. Hiroto is surprised and asks who is X. He answers don't worry about it I'm just thinking aloud. Hiroto asks him what brings a rank S hunter to a beginner dungeon like this. Shingo answers because of the dungeon distortions that happen suddenly. You surely heard about the last incident and before it there were other accidents and some signs say this dungeon will have it too. That's the result of some investigations I did myself. Hiroto is surprised but decides to leave. Before he exits the dungeon, Shingo calls him and says, I think fate made us meet here. The incident already happened and the monster that doesn't appear in this dungeon appeared for some reason. I don't mean you're the reason, but don't enter dungeons for a while. Hiroto answers, thanks for the warning. When he takes 2 steps, the demon lord system warns him that Shingo is insanely strong. Then Shingo looks at the crack in the ground and says to himself, this is like last time. These are surely signs of a hunter using a rank A or rank S ability, and that person's name is X. He suspects that person might be Hiroto, then tells himself, no, impossible. A power that can break the ground like this would surely be classified under rank A for a person whose rank is F in the first place. Later at the Hunters Guild board meeting, we find the president Kusetsu, who's in the 3rd position, after him Shingo in the 4th, and in 5th Takashi sitting at a table and looking very angry. Then Takato in 2nd place enters. He's not affiliated with any guild, but he's a member of the biggest entertainment agency in the country. And it's very clear he's the youngest among them, so he's from the new generation unlike all of them. Because he's from the new generation, he's very careless and arrives very late. The president Kusetsu gets very angry and yells at him. Shingo tries to calm him down. He says this guy is very annoying, just like the woman in 1st place who never attends the meetings at all. None of them even knows what being a hunter means. Takato mocks him, saying, crazy old man. The president shouts louder, and Shingo calms him down so they don't waste more time. Then the president stands and says the meeting of rank S hunters will begin, and our problem this time is the demon lord. Takato is surprised by the title, so the president explains to him that it's a title set about a hunter. Takato replies, you mean our group of rank S hunters? So you don't mean the demon lord app? The president is surprised and asks him angrily, what app? Takato replies, no, it's nothing. If you don't know, then that's good. The president asks him, still angry, did you make a chat app for your group or something like that? Takato replies, yes, something like that. The president tells him, I'm talking about the old National Parliament building. Takato asks, you mean the dungeon in Nagatacho? He says yes. As you know, it's one of the 7 great dungeons, and no one has been able to conquer it until now. This dungeon appeared in New York and swallowed the whole city. It was a huge tragedy. The first dungeon that appeared in Japan was in the National Parliament building, so we can't fail this challenge for the pride of our country. Then he tells him, I heard the new generation started acting on their own. Don't forget that the Hunters Guild is responsible for the takeover operation of this dungeon. Takato replies arrogantly, fine, I'll tell the others. But you old man, you look upset and jealous of us rank S hunters, because I'm the talent that suddenly appeared 10 years ago and became 2nd place above you, and also Ayako the hunter in 1st place. The president gets angry and Shingo answers instead of him, the current leader of the ranking Ayako never attends any meeting at all. You new generation of rank S live selfishly, and that gives us a headache. That's why I'll tell you to avoid acting on your own again, and respect the other hunters. Takato replies carelessly, okay, and Takashi asks, by the way, president, what's the incident that happened in the hunters training school called Artemis? The president answers, I'm sorry for the loss of your son, but the investigation ended in the last meeting. Takashi replies angrily, you mean demons suddenly appeared and killed them? My son would have escaped if there was danger. He was trained by me. I'm a rank S hunter for years. He would know if there were dangerous demons, and it's impossible he died without being able to escape. He gets angrier and tells them my son didn't die because of some demons. Surely there was a fight between him and someone in the dungeon. That's why he couldn't escape. Takato replies, weren't there 2 hunters who escaped from the dungeon? If what you're saying is true, they'd be dead too. Takashi tells them angrily, that means the Hunters Guild didn't investigate the matter properly. I'll move and investigate myself. The president is surprised and asks alone. Takashi answers yes. This Hunters Guild is useless. That's why these kids mock you. Then he says, I'll start my investigation with the 2 people who survived first, and says to himself, the demon sensing device that was with my son was very expensive. I'm sure someone touched it before these demons appeared. Surely they were greedy for the expensive equipment he had. And if the one who did that is still alive, I'll find him and kill him. At the same time, Hiroto leaves the dungeon and meets Ito. She tells him, don't make me leave you alone again. There are 6 days and 12 hours left until the death hunt. Then they get up to enter the dungeon again. On the way, Ito tells him, I never thought I'd enter this place again. He answers, neither did I honestly want to enter it, but it's the only place we can increase our level and strength. The reason behind this place increasing the level so effectively is the dungeon distortion incident that happened, because after that many types of strong monsters appeared in it like the Black Knights. Hiroto says to himself, I can raise my stats if I kill a large number of demons. And after Ito raises her level, I plan to kill some Black Knights. He tells Ito we'll pretend to be porters for now, and once a suitable time comes we'll separate separate from the group and handle things ourselves. She answers okay, but we'll stay in this dungeon for 5 days. What will we do for food? He tells her don't worry, we have the item box and I went and bought food for 500,000 yen and stored it. It will surely be enough. He says to himself, as long as someone is hunting us I must prepare well for the worst possibilities and stay in the mountains. By coincidence they meet the adventurer whose team leader bullied him at the dungeon gate because he didn't bring a female porter. He apologizes to them for what happened last time and the monster that suddenly appeared in the dungeon. He tells them that all his team managed to survive. They find him a kind and nice person, so they sit and eat together. At the same time the team leader who bullied him is sitting. Another member of the team enters and tells him the preparations are going fine. But are you sure, Captain? I saw someone using a rank S skill just like him. I saw him pull out a sword from nothing suddenly. But in the end the one who defeated the three-headed wolf monster was Shingo, the rank S hunter. The captain tells him I saw that weapon in his hand once in the past and it's really powerful. After we kill him we'll take it and sell it. Its price now is surely millions. Anyway, we can use the dungeon as an excuse and say he died in an accident. He's just a kid from rank F and our levels and stats are much higher than his. At the same time Hiroto tells the team member it's a good coincidence and thanks him for hiring them twice. He replies honestly the pay is very good compared to how dangerous this job is. Maybe that's why people agree. Hiroto asks we'll set up camp in the middle of the dungeon, right? He answers of course we must do that, so if we decide to go deeper inside the dungeon returning will be easy and close. Generally any place outside the deep areas of the dungeon is safe. Hiroto asks isn't it too early to say safe? He replies like I told you the dangerous part here is the deep areas and those are explored by rank A hunters. Since many rank B hunters died here last time the budget increased a lot. That includes us too, even though we'll stay in the safe area only. Our job is to protect the guards, but if we kill some small monsters that appear on the way we'll get a reward. Hiroto says to himself really like I heard all the problems are inside the deeper layers, like what happened to me in the past in this same dungeon when the demon lord app appeared to me. I think the best choice for us is to go deeper into the dungeon to become stronger, but I'm worried that all of this is a trap and the people of that app are luring us here. The rest time ends and they get up to continue their path. Suddenly a very huge worm from rank C appears. After that a very large group of the same worm appears. The adventurers make a barrier with their shields and the mages shoot fire at them to drive them away and scare them. Right after that the swordsmen enter and start cutting them. Hiroto stands watching them, then notices a worm about to fall on one of the hunters. He throws his knife at it, pushing it away from him. The hunter gets shocked because to do that someone must be very strong. He asks who threw that sword, but Hiroto doesn't answer. Suddenly Hiroto hears a team member calling him. He tells him one of our team fell into a hole and I think he's injured. Surely porters have healing potions. Come, let's go check him together. Hiroto answers sure and goes with him. The rest of the team laugh with a very evil laugh and clearly have bad intentions. On the other side in the guild computer room, Tomia is sitting very happy that after becoming rank A he's now able to access the system and search for any of the hunters, and can also see the latest requests they submitted to the guild. He gets Hiroto's identity and also finds that he's currently in the Artemis school dungeon, and plans to eliminate him and Ito quickly. The team leader comes to Hiroto and tells him some people also disappeared during the battle. One of them is bleeding heavily, and if we don't reach him now he'll die. The team member with Hiroto tells him we'll go you and me with them and Ito will go check the other one. When they move they find themselves surrounded by the whole team. They all laugh with intense mockery. One of them tells Hiroto last time you showed a sword from nowhere I saw it. He tells him it's the same sword that Ayako had when she was rank B, and it can destroy entire buildings with a single strike. Hiroto asks her the one you're talking about is from rank S, right? He replies mockingly she's in first place in the guild, of course rank S. Hiroto realizes they plan to kill them all to increase the power of his sword. From their words he understands that Ito is in danger with the other person she went with. Hiroto decides to finish quickly and reveals his sword. They all laugh at him mockingly and underestimate him and his power as rank F. In an instant Hiroto disappears and appears in front of one of them, cutting off his head. They're all shocked how he did that. They all panic and Hiroto rushes at the second one, breaking his sword and grabbing him angrily. He tells them, why didn't you think even for a moment that I might be dangerous? He throws him away and hears someone saying even if he has a strong sword he's still in rank F, which means if he takes one hit he'll die. Hiroto cuts off his arm before he even finishes the sentence, and gets closer to the rest and tells them you underestimated me because I'm rank F, and that's the reason for your loss. With every step Hiroto takes towards them they get more and more terrified. Hiroto thinks about the amount of violence violence these hunters used on people to exploit them, and decides to return the fear, terror, and violence they caused to others. Their leader runs and calls for help from anyone. Hiroto says to himself these words, he surely heard them many times from the people he tortured. Hiroto wounds him badly and leaves him. The last one left is the nice guy who was eating with him and Ito. He's very nervous and asks Hiroto, what will you do? Hiroto answers, I was only going to threaten you. Then Hiroto turns his back and decides to go to catch Ito quickly, but suddenly the one they thought was nice pulls out a bottle of deadly poison he made himself and throws it at him, but he's shocked that the poison doesn't affect Hiroto at all. Hiroto looks at him with a disappointed look and says, I thought you were the only good person in this team. He gets very nervous and sweats, and in the blink of an eye Hiroto cuts off his hand. The rest of the team out of fear start running and leave him. Suddenly while they're running they find a huge snake surrounding them. They're all shocked, wondering how the cave serpent appeared in this dungeon. The hunter whose hand was cut says the three-headed monster was strange to appear here too. He suspects Hiroto has something to do with it because wherever he is these things appear. The snake hits one of the hunters with its tail, killing him. Suddenly Hiroto finds the system counted the two who died as if he killed them, so his level rises. Then he says to himself, it doesn't matter now. I must finish this snake quickly, and indeed he cuts it completely in the blink of an eye and climbs a mountain, running fast to reach Ito. When he arrives he finds her the one who defeated the person who tried to kill her. She tied him and left him on the ground. He asks her what happened and she tells him that man suddenly attacked me so I took him down, and asks him, did something happen to you? He says yes, I defeated them too and they ran away. After that the cave serpent appeared and killed them. She's shocked that the cave serpent appeared after the three-headed monster. She tells him, how can dungeon distortions happen one after another like this? Hiroto remembers Shingo's words when he told him, I don't mean anything but stay away from dungeons for a while because I feel something bad is happening. Hiroto asks her nervously, could we be the reason? Before she answers he tells her, probably we really are the reason and it's something related to the app. She tells him, then how will we report what happened? And surely you're the one who defeated the cave serpent, right? They'll cause a big fuss if they find out what happened. Hiroto answers, it's simple. We'll just leave here. Maybe it's still early for what we planned, but we have to survive this place. On the other side Tomia reaches the dungeon gate, greets the guards and walks toward the door. They tell him you can't enter inside without permission. He arrogantly shows his license and tells them, do you know I became a rank A hunter now? They tell him the laws apply to rank A hunters too and you can't enter. He mocks them because they're just a group of guards and none of them ever enter dungeons. They try to explain to him that these are rules they must apply and they'll be in serious trouble if they break them. Tomia gets very angry and releases a very strong energy, cutting off one of their heads. He tells them, you're actually right, if I break the laws and enter you'll be in big trouble, but I'll be very annoyed if I don't go inside to take care of some annoying kids inside, and as you said I think I need a strong excuse to enter. He thinks for a bit and tells them, I'll report that a very strong monster appeared and reached the entrance after killing everyone inside the dungeon and the guards. The guards outside get terrified and call him insane. One of the guards tells him there's also a guard from rank A inside and you won't be able to defeat him. Tomia replies arrogantly, only one person from rank A. I've already stepped into the world of rank S and no one can defeat me no matter how strong. He grabs the guard's head tightly and crushes his skull. As soon as Tomia enters from the dungeon gate he receives a call. He's surprised because dungeons are supposed to have no signal, but he guesses it's because he's still very close to the entrance. He looks at who's calling and is shocked that it's Takato. He asks himself why one of the rank S hunters is calling me. He answers and Takato greets him and tells him, it's been a while since we had a demon lord meeting, but I'm calling you about the two people you're hunting. Tomia is shocked how he knows and how the news reaches them so fast. He asks Takato what about them. Takato answers simply, we're also part of the demon lord app so naturally we participate. Tomia asks nervously, you want to steal my prey? He answers, no, I'm not planning to do that, but you killed a guild staff member who was guarding the dungeon, right? Tomia gets very nervous and can't answer. Takato tells him, don't go too far with your actions. We'll cover what you did this time, but don't be stupid and kill everyone in the dungeon. We won't interfere in your hunt and you don't interfere in our work or stand in our way. Tomia gets scared and says understood. Then Takato tells him, I'll give you some advice. Don't give them any time. As soon as you find them, kill them quickly. Tomia is surprised and says, advice? You underestimate me too much. They're just two people from rank E and F. Takato says, exactly, because they're rank E and F and because they have a very dangerous tool. At the same time Hiroto and Ito are walking toward the exit. On the way Hiroto tells her, I keep thinking about that rank S hunter. She asks him what did they tell you about her. He answers they said she has the same blood-absorbing sword as mine. And I think her sword now is much stronger than mine. That means she entered many dungeons and killed many people. And her name is Ayako and she's the #1 hunter in the whole country. They reach a dark place where the hunters set up their tents. Ito asks him, are you still determined to carry out the plan? I don't know if you're a hardworking person or crazy. He answers if we don't act ourselves they'll force us. Then he asks her where did you get these elixir potions from? She answers from the person who attacked me. Hiroto then decides that they'll enter the deeper areas to face monsters, kill them and increase their level. After a while Hiroto remembers something and asks Ito, do you know that the elixir you have heals small wounds quickly? He tells her I heard there are stronger types that stimulate internal energy in any body and heal any disease no matter how impossible. These potions can be found in treasure chests or drop from monsters after defeating them. But what I want to know is who creates these things. In the deepest place on Earth there's a laboratory full of terrifying samples of monsters, and the 6th great demon lord named Fascia Falton awakens. On the other side Ayako is in her room in a royal palace, playing music and saying to herself we have corrupted the 2 from Artemis Hunter's school and now it's time to kill them and all the demon lords will gather in the National Assembly Hall. At the same time Hiroto and Ito are in the forest monsters area. The trees themselves turn into monsters from rank C, and among these tree monsters there's a humanoid monster of level B. Hiroto draws his sword and rushes at the trees cutting them down. Beside him Ito runs and slashes through the trees until she gets close to the humanoid monster. The monster uses its power and controls the rocks, lifting them and throwing them at Ito. Because of the number of trees she cut down her level increases quickly and she jumps with her spear in her hand, striking down on the tree leader and finishing it. Ito gets very excited and her level rises more, but suddenly the rest of the trees surround her. Hiroto appears and tells her get down quickly. Ito hides and Hiroto strikes a very strong blow cutting all the trees at once. After that Hiroto tells Ito your skill called Morning Star is very powerful. It can be deadly and kill anyone in one hit, but the problem is your stats are low and that's what makes you unable to use the skill with full power. He thinks that her strength requires close single combat to be effective. But because of her low level her defenses are almost non-existent. Suddenly screens appear in front of him saying the greed skill has been unlocked due to killing a large number of trees. He tells Ito let's go back again to the forest of tree monsters. I have a plan. When they go there Hiroto activates the search skill he got from the virtual world where he met Ito again. A radar appears in front of him showing the locations of all the tree leaders. He activates a skill that allows him to clone himself and fight all of them at the same time and defeats them with the genocide sword. Ito is amazed by him and says that he's the real monster. He tells her they're just much weaker than me, that's all. After he kills them all a screen of the greed skill appears and it says due to killing all the leaders the telekinesis skill has been learned. Hiroto says just as I expected, one more thing left to do. He goes to one of the trees and touches it, then a mission screen appears showing a maze and monsters. He says exactly as I thought. I'll leave it without giving an answer. Then he calls Ito and tells her to do the same. At the same time Tomia walks in the dungeon and after asking about Ito and Hiroto and people told him they disappeared during the chaos, he suddenly finds a huge spider monster jumping at him from behind. But he has very strong composure and strikes the monster with one hit without even looking, defeating it. Because of the annoyance he feels from them he intends to torture them first before killing them. He enters a group of hunters sitting around the fire in front of their tent, greets them and asks do you remember me? One of them answers with annoyance of course I do. But what brought you here? Tomia replies I have a mission to finish here. By the way I became rank A. The man replies we know. It was very embarrassing for me when you gave me orders while you were rank B and I was rank A. And asks him so this won't be one of your other mistakes where you kill people by accident, right? Now that you're rank A we won't be able to tolerate that again. Tomia laughs an evil laugh and the hunter understands he's really here for one of his crazy missions. Tomia continues this time I'm here for 2 kids and I want to handle them both at once. He decides to help him and Tomia says to himself I was planning to kill everyone here but I'd better use them to search for Hiroto and Ito. On the other side Hiroto has defeated a very huge spider of rank C, and gains the skill to shoot webs from his hand like Spider-Man. Suddenly they're interrupted by the arrival of Tomia. Hiroto is shocked and expects that this is the rank S hunter who's hunting them. Tomia asks him mockingly why are you so scared? Did you think I wouldn't find you before the event begins? Hiroto looks at Ito and sees her terrified standing unable to move. Hiroto feels that even if he starts the fight he won't win. Tomia interrupts his thoughts and tells him even if I didn't say it I think you already knew I'm here. So shall we start the fight? Hiroto summons the maze mission screen that he and Ito left unanswered and they both use it as a way to escape and accept the mission. They're both teleported from the place and disappear in front of Tomia. Tomia is shocked and becomes very angry because he finally found them after all this search. At the same time Hiroto and Ito appear in a desert-like place surrounded by mountains. After walking a bit they encounter the Ant Queen from rank S. Hiroto dodges her claws and controls the plants in the area with telekinesis, tying her up. The Ant Queen cuts all the plants with her very sharp claws. Hiroto uses telekinesis again, but this time moves the spider webs in the area, wrapping her with them. He also wraps the plants around her again. Then he lets Ito be the one to kill them so her level and stats increase. Afterward a much larger monster appears with a lion head and a goat head. Hiroto splits it in half quickly. He doesn't let Ito interfere so she won't be in danger since she hasn't reached that level yet. They continue in the same way until Ito reaches the maximum level possible in her rank and becomes level 35. She's very happy. The next day in one of the forests with beautiful weather, Hiroto is sitting looking at the remaining time for the Demon Lord hunt and there are about 4 minutes left. Ito comes in and tells him the food is ready. He's surprised that she learned cooking in a very short time. He tastes the food and finds it delicious too. It's clear there's a rivalry between Ito and Yuzuki over Hiroto, but he doesn't understand anything that's happening and keeps eating happily. After that Ito gets up and tells him I'll bring water from a nearby river. He uses the search skill and shows her the direction. She tells him finish your food and get some sleep, you need rest. Hiroto says to himself, indeed, no matter how much the magic potions increase our health points, sleep is much better. After a while he wakes up and finds that Ito made him coffee and gave him something light to eat. He sees on her face the features of kindness and innocence and she asks him after we leave this place let's go buy some things together. With complete indifference he tells her sure I don't mind, still not understanding anything. On the other side in the office of Takashi, one of the board members of the Hunters Guild, ranked 5th among rank S hunters, he gets a call from the secretary telling him that Yuzuki has arrived. He tells him let her in, then says to himself Yuzuki is an adopted daughter of the Kojo family like Ayako, and she's one of the survivors of the dungeon distortion incident that happened at Artemis school, so she might have some information about what happened to my son Kanzuya. As soon as Yuzuki enters he's stunned by her beauty and becomes very nervous, and decides to kidnap her. At the same time in the Artemis school dungeon, Tomia and the others are still standing waiting for Hiroto and Ito. At that moment they appear again in front of them after becoming much stronger, and this time they have the confidence that they can fight. The first thing Hiroto says is I have some questions. What is this Demon Lord app? Tomia replies mockingly I won't tell you. Hiroto asks then what does Demon Lord Hunter mean? Tomia pretends to think then answers mockingly again I won't tell you. Hiroto tells him at least answer this one question. Why are you hunting us? Tomia answers because if I kill you I'll gain money and power. That's all there is to it. Hiroto says to himself just as I expected. All rank S hunters are extremely dangerous except Yuzuki, so we must consider them enemies from now on. He tells Ito I'll handle Tomia and you take the rest. Hiroto draws his sword and in the blink of an eye appears above Tomia and swings down his sword, but Tomia blocks the sword with his hand easily and quickly kicks him away. Arrogantly Tomia tells him bad luck for you. My skin is special and very hard. I'll admit you're a monster like me, but there are many monsters stronger than you among rank S hunters. Tomia lifts a huge rock with one hand. Hiroto realizes it's impossible to win in a direct fight. The other hunters call out to Ito and mock her. Ito moves quickly and points her spear at one of them. He dodges her strike but gets nervous from her speed. He gets angry because she interrupted him and attacked. He swings his sword down at her but she dodges it with incredible speed. The hunters are shocked, saying that's the speed of someone at rank B or higher. They doubt she was really rank E as they heard. The hunter tries to compose himself and attacks again and Ito dodges with very high skill. With every strike she dodges he's more shocked. He notices she doesn't make any extra movements, just the minimum necessary. Ito counters and raises her spear, throwing a small rock in front of him. He blocks the hit but from its force he steps back. He's even more surprised because his stats should be much higher than hers, giving him the advantage. He feels Ito reads his attacks before he even makes them. Suddenly Ito corners him near a big rock and uses her Morning Star skill. A large number of rocks fly at him, completely defeating him. The remaining hunters are terrified of her. We return to Hiroto still trying to hit Tomia with any attack but failing. Tomia punches the wall behind him, breaking it. Yet Hiroto neither fears nor gives up. He rushes at him again with the sword but Tomia's hardness prevails and he catches the sword with his teeth. Hiroto thinks to himself nervously, if I hadn't gone into the deeper areas of the dungeon and trained myself I'd be dead now. He plans to use unconventional methods since direct attacks aren't working. He opens the item box and uses telekinesis, pulling out many knives surrounding Tomia with them. Tomia releases a very strong energy from his body, stopping them. From the pressure of that energy Hiroto also flies far away. Arrogantly Tomia Tomia shouts, I have infinite health points and no one can defeat me. That's thanks to the hero pendant I bought from the system. And that's why you have no chance to beat me. Hiroto decides to use the annihilation skill he used on the tree leaders. He creates many magic circles around Tomia and clones himself multiple times. He uses telekinesis and binds Tomia with plants like he did with the Ant Queen. Tomia gets angry and tells him, you're underestimating me. Do you really think this will stop me? Before he can move and free himself, Hiroto shoots spider webs onto his hands, head, and legs. Tomia laughs mockingly and says, I can still break free with my power. Hiroto moves quickly and rushes toward his leg, cutting him at the heel, because he had read before about his skill that makes him hard and his health never drops, and knew his only weak point would be his heel to stop him from standing to fight. Tomia screams in pain and has to ask the other hunters to use their healing magic to heal him, but he's shocked to see that Ito made them surrender and they're frozen in fear. Tomia falls to the ground and looks at Hiroto in fear, saying to himself, I'm the one with higher stats. He's using Kojo's sword, but the terrifying thing is he didn't use any of the sword's skills and held himself from using his full power, and still brought me to this state. Tomia completely loses hope, realizing he can't do anything anymore. Suddenly an earthquake happens and the ceiling begins to collapse. On the other side in the laboratory, Fascia Falton, the sixth demon lord, awakens, taking a hunting mission, and after finishing it a death hunt mission begins. Fascia Falton descends in front of Hiroto and Ito. They both stand shocked by the power they feel from him and his strange appearance that looks like an alien with no face or features. He says whoever moves will die. Hiroto and Ito find themselves frozen in place, unable to move from fear. Fascia Falton passes beside them, slowly approaching Tomia, who becomes terrified and shouts, don't come near me. Fascia Falton puts his hand on him. His hands start to melt, covering his whole body, and Fascia Falton merges with him. Hiroto and Ito witness a horrifying sight as Tomia's body transforms and many heads come out of it. Suddenly the other hunters transform too, but become knights wearing red armor under the control of Fascia Falton. Suddenly the sun turns purple, and with one strike from Fascia Falton many buildings are destroyed. Hiroto moves and uses the strongest sword skill called Ruler Slayer, which creates a massive deadly tornado, but it doesn't affect Fascia Falton at all. He wonders how the system people gave a kid like this such a powerful skill, saying the sword is just a toy but wonderful and strong, yet without enhancements it's just wasted. Hiroto stands shocked that his strongest skill didn't work. The bigger problem is that he can only use it every 5 minutes. Suddenly one of the red knights jumps from behind Ito to kill her. Hiroto moves the plants, quickly binding him. Ito gets ready intending to kill him, but suddenly hears the voice of the hunter possessed by him calling for help. She freezes, unable to realize she was about to kill him while he moves unwillingly. In an instant the knight frees himself and stabs his sword into her stomach. Hiroto screams and catches her quickly. Ito falls into his arms and he becomes furious. She tells him there's no hope of saving me, kill me instead. He's shocked by what she says. She tells him your sword gets stronger when it absorbs blood. If you kill me you'll become stronger and can defeat that thing. This is your only chance. Hiroto shouts, saying impossible, I'll never do that to you. And killing one person won't increase any power. Ito insists, telling him this is the last chance even if it's small. She grabs his sword and stabs herself. Before her last breath she tells him, you're the person with the greatest will to live even if you're alone. She tells him to keep fighting till the end. Hiroto looks at her in shock, unable to do anything or understand what's happening. After she dies he stands up full of rage, ignoring that the hunters are being controlled. He uses the Ruler Slayer skill again, killing them all. A message appears saying he reached the maximum limit of the skill and obtained the title Human Exterminator. The skill recharges instantly without waiting 5 minutes as usual. He plans to end the battle with the next strike. He releases the Ruler Slayer skill at full power, and even with all that strength it doesn't affect Fascia Falton at all. Fascia Falton returns the attack with a very strong strike, making Hiroto bleed and fall to the ground. Even so Hiroto stands up again, refusing to surrender. Suddenly a screen appears saying link skill, and the greed skill links Hiroto with Ito's Morning Star technique. Hiroto is surprised and tries to hit him. Fascia Falton blocks it with his hand and is surprised by the power of the blow, but he stops it easily and cuts off Hiroto's arm. Hiroto leans against a rock, deeply saddened, and tears fall from his eyes for Ito. More notifications and points appear in front of him. He says to himself, hopelessly, I've had enough of these messages. He screams from his heart, calling for anyone to explain why this is happening. A screen appears saying intense hatred for the world detected and the title Avenger of the World obtained. The interference authority increases to 50%. suddenly a strange being forms in front of him and says, "Finally I can talk to you." Hiroto asks him, "Who are you anyway?" He replies, "I'm part of the app designed to be your companion. I was known as the Demon King in the land they call the Third Parallel World, Alpha Gald." Then he tells him, "You surely have many questions, but be quiet and listen." Hiroto gets furious and shouts, "Ito died and you're telling me to be quiet and listen." He rushes at him with the sword full of anger and hatred, yet the Demon King stops him with his fingers, telling him, "I respect your feelings very much, but we really have no time." Hiroto lowers the sword and decides to listen. The Demon King tells him, "First, congratulations on escaping the death hunt. That means you become one of the best users of this app." Hiroto says to himself, "Just as I thought, there are many others like me." Then the Demon King tries to tell him something about the game, but suddenly the words get distorted. The Demon King says that explanation won't reach you, I'll compare it to something else. He tells him think of it as an insect hole, and the special mission rewards let you choose one of two things. The first is to remove the restriction on your level cap so you can level up further. The second is to enhance the maximum limit of the Ruler Slayer skill. He advises him not to use the level cap removal because there are many other ways to do that instead of wasting this chance. But the Ruler Slayer sword is something very special in the system. He tells him knowing your personality, killing people to raise your level is hard for you, so removing the level cap will be a more practical choice. Take your time and decide. Then the Demon King's expression changes and he tells him, "Now we come to the important topic. In case you want to delete the app." Hiroto is shocked that this is even possible. The Demon King replies the goal of deleting this game, but his words get distorted again because he said the word game. He says, "I'll speak in your terms. It requires you to destroy the 7 foundational dungeons. In Japan I think it's called Nagatasho. As for me, my goal is to destroy Ishtar. She's one of the strongest dungeon guardians in the other world. And also to destroy someone else here you call the current Demon King." Hiroto asks, surprised, "Who is Ishtar?" He answers, "There's a big difference in history between you and me. In my case, after I became a ruler I couldn't take revenge. That's why I entered this game and came down to you." The Demon King feels distortion and says, "Our time is over, so I'll get straight to the point. The final rewards after finishing this game. First is raising your rank as a ruler. The second gets distorted, and the third, he says, changing the past. I came here to tell you there's still hope. If you choose to continue the app, then our interests are the same. That means we'll be partners." He extends his hand and Hiroto does the same, but the Demon King's hand disappears, unable to touch his. He hurriedly says, "Time really ran out this time. Do you have any questions?" Hiroto shouts, "I want to know what exactly this app is. And what are these monsters that suddenly appear? And you say you're the Demon King. What exactly are you? And why did this app appear to me, forcing me to risk my life and fight?" The Demon King comes closer, placing his hand on Hiroto's shoulder to calm him. Hiroto's cut arm grows back. He tells him this is the survival struggle between the original species. And that's the same thing that happened long ago and is related to. The words distort again and the Demon King says, "I still don't have enough interference authority to tell you this information. If you want answers you must become stronger. If you want to bring back the woman who died you must become stronger. At your current level you're not even allowed to talk to me." After the Demon King leaves, Hiroto mocks his words that enhancing the sword's maximum level isn't a good idea. He opens the reward selection screen and chooses to enhance the sword's maximum level, and plans to first kill the people living committing crimes inside the dungeons. Hiroto appears afterward in a place where a group of hunters are bullying people and killing them. He hears one of them saying, "In this world survival is for the strongest, so killing and stealing are very normal." Hiroto replies, "If you live to kill and steal I'll consider you accepted the risk," and he draws his sword in anger. At the same time in the Adventurers Guild building, Yuzuki is sitting in her office checking the percentage of missing people in the dungeons and finds it has increased just as she expected, but she notices that the people who disappear are all criminals to begin with. She says to herself, if the guild's assumptions are right, that means the reason their number increased is the incidents happening lately. She feels there are other suspicious things like the number of monsters decreasing drastically. Takashi enters her office and tells her regarding the major campaign on the Tachikawa dungeon. "You've been selected as an official member of the Black Dragon Fawn Guild." Yuzuki is surprised. At the same time Shingo is in his office on the phone, asking the person he's talking to about the situation with the Kojo family in Kyoto. He's surprised by the answer and says to himself regarding the current strategy for the Takagawa dungeon, it's supposed to be carried out by us the old generation only under the leadership of President Gosetsu. That's after we intentionally excluded the new generation hunters. Then he tells the person on the phone, "I understand. So there's no direct interference from the Kojo family or pressure from political and financial circles, right?" After ending the call he thinks about how the Kojo family, which controls the country's politics and economy and also has influence over the Hunters Guild, has gathered all the talented talented people in the country, becoming the rival of the old generation within the Hunters Guild. He thinks about the importance of the upcoming battle in the Takagawa dungeon, because it will be a trial battle before the larger strategy confrontation in the Nagatasho dungeon, meaning the result of the Takagawa battle will affect the method and plan of attack on the Nagatasho dungeon in the future. He says to himself, even President Gosetsu started making secret plans to keep the new generation out of it completely, and the Kojo family and the new generation are watching from afar. Things are starting to get more interesting. The next day at the Hunters Guild, the receptionist congratulates Yuzuki for being nominated to become one of the rank S hunters. Yuzuki is surprised and tells her with annoyance, isn't it a bit early for that to happen? I already received exceptional exceptions. The receptionist thinks she's just being modest. She tells her all hunters fear adventure. But you challenged mazes above your level and put yourself in danger. You achieved many difficult things and raised your level, but now you can't gain more experience from regular mazes. I think the administration took your offensive style into account. I'm really impressed with you. But on the contrary, Yuzuki feels it's still too early and isn't excited at all. Then the receptionist asks her how are things with the Kojo family. Yuzuki asks surprised, did something happen? She replies Kojo belongs to the Black Dragon Fawn Guild. It's a guild from the old generation, not the new one. So I'm not sure Kyoto will look at it positively. Yuzuki replies, but the main family told me to do whatever I want for now. Yuzuki says to herself, I still don't understand why they're letting me act freely like this. I thought after I graduate I'd be a puppet in their hands, but this really turned out suspicious. I've known since I was young that they gather talented hunters and add them to the family. Their goal is to dominate the political and economic fields and even the Hunters Guild. But why am I allowed this freedom? Suddenly a person enters the guild asking Yuzuki by name. She asks nervously what happened. He takes her with him and shows her on the television a scene of some hunters protesting for their imprisoned criminal comrades. They quickly hold a meeting discussing these hunters to find a quick solution because they're killing innocent people. They find the real problem is their numbers and that most of them are from high ranks. Their leader is rank S, with 5 hunters from rank A and 12 hunters from rank B. With that even the police and army will have a hard time handling them. The bigger problem is that already 100 prisoners have been killed, and if their demands aren't met every 10 minutes they'll kill one person. The shocking thing is they ask Yuzuki to infiltrate the prison and die in place of the important political figures who were kidnapped by the protesting hunters.